I know. It's like, where do we stick everything? This is just a Stuck it behind me. My notebook. Yeah.
Charge me for that.
It's gonna be my minute. I can do it until Becky shows up. I just don't know some of the wording. Some of the time I read the stuff and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I know how to write that down. Okay.
I have to leave at 8:15 if we're not done.
Oh, no, we're going to be done. We're going to be done.
Let's do it.
Oh, okay, so let's get the meeting started.
I'll make a motion to open the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Are we supposed to really vote on that? I thought we just started the meeting. That's what I thought.
Probably not.
Anyway, okay. So meeting minutes, did everybody have a chance to read them?
3 times.
Yeah.
3 times, yes. Sorry. Becky kept sending me corrections, so I just kept sending them out.
The one who wrote them?
Yeah. Well.
Then you had to retype them.
So, let's see. Okay, those are questions. So did anybody else have any corrections to the minutes?
No.
Okay. So
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm probably going to get slammed for even bringing this back up again, but I really take exception to the lack of department head, and that's not in the minute. I have a problem with it. So, I mean, it's a personal thing, but it's not in the minutes that we just even discussed it.
It wasn't in the notes. So if you want to add it, just
I would like to add it just to be on record that I don't care where you put it. Just as long as it's on there, that because I do have a problem with that, and that it's mine. It doesn't seem like anybody else does, but
well, we talked about it. So was it an old business or new business?
That is the question. I don't know.
Okay, so where do you want to add it? I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's something that we probably ought to discuss when we're done with budgets. Because I don't think it's going to happen.
Didn't we talk about that before?
Yeah.
So it should be under old business.
Okay.
So lack of.
You said department heads?
So lack of department heads, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so I just added it as the last bullet point.
Okay.
Does anybody have any particular wording?
I just said Deborah has an issue with lack of department heads.
There's a discussion. An explanation by Jay.
Okay, so since I'm typing these up, what I have is lack of department heads discussion.
Okay.
Perfect.
Period.
Yep.
Any other? Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
With changes.
With changes.
All in favor? All right. Oops. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so. I don't know where my budgets are. So here it is.
Georgiana coming or no? And Marcy coming.
They are coming.
Yeah, Georgiana was here at 5. Somehow she thought it was at 5, so she's got a meeting tonight at the library at 6 for the annual festival. So she's hoping it will be done around 7:15, and she will come over straight after that. I heard, I guess Marcy's gonna be here at 7:30, I heard what she was told.
Who is?
Marcy.
Marcy.
Margaret.
Oh, okay. So do we want to jump ahead to the transfer station?
Yep.
Yeah, we can do, I mean, we can do any of the whole, your choice.
Yeah, I was asking
Oh, I'm sorry.
the budget committee.
Is this the wages? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
For the ones up there?
Yeah.
This is their hourly week? I mean, what they pay?
The wages look like they're staying the same.
No.
We actually just reviewed it again before the meeting, and we're actually gonna drop it to 72,000.
72?
72.
Okay.
So in front of you, I handed out a paper that actually has the wage breakdown on it.
I don't know what it looks like.
It's
like
So there's staff up here, or
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're under
Hey
there.
Deb, can you pass me?
I'm sorry.
Which one did you need? This one.
Yeah, it is.
I got the stapled one, didn't you?
No,
Yeah, you
no,
just
the other
have to-
page
this
is
is
the
the
new
updated
budget.
codes, there's an updated codes, and then that one.
Updated code
And
budget.
that one, Jay.
Oh, okay.
So it's just only 21 June, we're in 21 right now.
So it was a misalignment.
This is what they spent so far this year. So 72 even?
72 even.
So on here you have 69,769.
Right.
That's if everybody works exactly those wages, and there's no extra days like around Christmas or anything else, and so we're going a little bit more, but that's,
It doesn't give you a lot to play with, 72 anyway.
it's only 1,300 or 1,200 more than.
Wait a minute, where's the 72 come from?
That's the figure they put in.
They just changed it from
So it
70
was,
78 to.
it was 78.5,
Okay,
and originally we were just gonna leave it the same.
okay.
But we wanted to do breakdowns, and so I did a breakdown, which is what I handed out. And the breakdown actually showed it was 69.7. So we didn't wanna be exact and not give us any kind of wiggle room, so that's why we came up with 72.
72 is enough?
We'll make it work.
So you're saving $6,500 on that budget?
And so payroll taxes, we need to adjust that, that's a 7.65%. So that new number is 5508.
even?
765? 7.65?
7.65%,
Yeah, I got that.
which makes that number 5508
Yeah.
instead of 6,006.
And you dropped office supplies.
Yeah.
Now, how's that work where there's another department head up there?
I mean, you basically have a manager, so Robert's the manager, which is why he's paid a little bit more. It's kind of department head, but the thing is back when they thought they were gonna have a union, the title got dropped up there. Because they couldn't be in a union if you're management, and if you're a department head, you're considered manager. You're considered management. So that's why the department head was actually dropped off the transfer station.
So now that they're not going to go union,
I mean, he's basically the manager up there.
right?
I mean, he's the person that we go to, he's the person in charge up there, so
But who's writing his budget?
we are, because we don't have a department head.
Right.
They're the ones who chose not to,
Right.
not us. That wasn't a selectman decision.
I think we need to go up on electricity. We already know the rates are gonna change. Because of the storm in October.
I haven't heard
the
that.
hurricanes?
Central Maine Power is going up on their rates.
A lot or?
It just said that customers were gonna pay a percentage. Cost them like, I don't know, $69 million or something, I don't know. But they said that the rates were gonna go up.
Why did they decide not to unionize?
I honestly don't know. My guess is because you gotta pay dues, right? So you get these benefits, but yes, you have to pay for them. So when you hear about the benefits, that's great, but then when you realize that you actually have to pay dues to get them, that probably doesn't make sense on the amount that they're getting paid.
Yeah.
For the benefits. That's my guess, but I don't know. I honestly don't. Do you have a better answer, Paul? Do you know? I don't.
Now, do they have benefits now from the town, like sick days and
No, because they're all part-time.
even
Yeah, 20, so it's 35 hours. 35 hours is the threshold for benefits.
Oh, and their hours, is this 27, 27, 27, 18?
Yeah, those are hours, yep.
Yeah, okay.
So what are you suggesting that we look at for electric, Judy?
I don't know, I mean, I would go up a little bit. It was 54 in 2017. So what about 5,000? What do you think?
I mean, I can't see them going up more than $500 a year, but I think that.
Yeah, and
I think the reason we kind of kept it there is, I mean, year to date, we're only at 1963.
true.
Yeah, that's
But the
what I
actual last year was 4580.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of the electricity is well, it's the compactors, it's the lights in the big building. That's pretty much it. Right?
Didn't I hear you discussing with them that they might be looking at bringing in a third compactor?
No.
No.
They've decided not to do that?
Well, it wasn't, they didn't, yeah, no, we're not doing that. They didn't. Nope. Yeah, I mean, if you think rates are gonna go up, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, that's.
So we wanna
You guys
go
have an
up
issue with that? I don't have an issue with that.
It was 4580 the year before.
Right.
Right. I think that's
51,000.
probably a good idea, 5,000, 5,100.
All right, let's do 5,000 for that then. And the phone should be all right.
why is the phone so much?
That's the MetroCast.
Monthly, whatever it is, yeah.
It's just not for a phone though.
It's on the internet.
No, the internet's free.
Yeah, we get internet free.
That can't be a phone.
Not a landline phone, right?
My landline phone's $27 a month.
Oh, mine's not.
MetroCast.
And mine's through there.
MetroCast?
No, Metricast is 40 something.
Yeah.
46.
So why are we going with metric?
So
Is there
it's
a
still
reason?
less than 600.
I don't know, what are
Do
the
you have your
expenses,
paper?
what do the expenses say?
Oh, there we go, you got it.
571 before, 561, 547, 540.
Yeah, MetroCast 47, 94, 48, 45, 44, 45.
Should we check on changing that? Like I say, my landline's 27 a month.
But not with taxes.
That's
Did
my,
you-
that's my
That's what
bill.
it costs, yeah.
Per month is $27.
Well, that's what mine was too, but there's $13 in taxes on top of that.
My bill is $27 a month for my landline.
Through where?
Fairpoint.
I have Fairpoint too.
Me too, you're getting a deal, how do you get a deal?
Yeah, I don't know how
Aren't
you're
you paying
getting
your
20.
taxes?
Oh, believe me, I pay taxes plenty.
I don't know. I mean, because
Do you pay
that's
for
what.
calls? Do you pay for calls then?
No.
You call Rochester, you don't pay long
No.
distance.
Wow, I'm
Do you have
calling
long
Fairpoint.
distance on? You
Like
have long distance on
I
it?
call everywhere, yeah. It's $27 a month.
Do you have a senior discount or something?
Not till next year.
I looked at my bill this last month, and there were $13 in taxes.
Yeah.
It was $27 and then $13 in taxes.
How
It's
can that be?
$40.
That's
And
like
and I
taxing
don't have long
50%.
distance on it.
Hmm.
That's just
Well,
It's
state
ridiculous.
taxes,
Local
federal
costs.
taxes,
It's
there's all
ridiculous.
kinds of taxes.
But that's 50% taxes?
Pretty close.
Yeah,
yeah. I was floored. $13.
that's
in
how they
taxes.
jerk you
It was
around,
crazy.
make you think you're getting a great
I
rate.
guess so.
Yeah.
Well, Chris.
911 tax, everything.
Myself a note.
I don't know that I would be calling them, Chris, for any reason.
Maybe that's why, I don't know.
Why is that?
For business?
line.
Maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
Maybe.
Usually
I have-
business is more expensive.
actually, I have
So you're
internet.
looking
I
at
have
like
all
maybe
my
$50
internet through them
a
too,
month.
though,
I have
so I don't know
internet
just
through
what
them
your
too.
phone is.
Yeah.
That's what it has been.
I mean, I'll look into it. I don't wanna change the number, but I'll certainly look into it if it makes
You
sense.
don't have to change the number. You can port
Yeah.
the number.
Yeah, you don't
You
have
can
to
port
change
the
the
number.
No, I didn't wanna change the,
The phone number.
Oh, the-
He's talking about the number on here.
Oh,
Oh,
no, don't change the number on here.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
well,
we'll
there's
we'll
that.
look into it. I mean, if it makes more sense, then when we'll get a switch, but you know, I don't know what I just have to look into it.
Just tell him you want Chris's rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna go, Chris who, what's his address?
Just put my phone number down there, let him call me.
We'll change that right now.
So the total on that line goes up to 5,600.
Yes. 5,600.
Look at her. That was fast.
Strutting her stuff.
Howdy.
She's just from one thing to another, huh?
Tell me about it.
your lights go out automatically?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep. Marcy will be down in a few minutes too, so.
Okay. So safety equipment. You buying boots?
Building property maintenance,
Yeah,
skip
building
that.
property maintenance.
Well, that didn't really change.
No, we don't care about that.
Notes and everything. I
Very
have
easy.
a question on the property maintenance. Are we still including a separate mowing cost under building and property maintenance for the transfer station?
No, we're
Or
gonna
is
charge
that-
a swap shop now for that.
Haha, no, you're not. We have no budget. No, the reason I'm asking is because I know that we discussed it at length last year, why there was a separate $500 twice a year for mowing at the transfer station, why that wouldn't be put under mowing. So I'm just wondering if that's,
Under the mowing contract, you mean?
yeah, because if
So-
somebody's there anyway mowing, why aren't they mowing that too?
Well, who's there? So in other words,
I don't
again,
think it
I don't
happened
know
last year.
if the transfer station has been put under the mowing contract.
But I don't think it happened last year. We didn't pay someone else, did we?
Last
Did
year,
we talk
yeah.
about this? Yeah, I don't think we did.
It's not under property maintenance.
So who did the
we
mowing?
can-
Who did the mowing at the transfer
Yeah,
station?
under outside services too.
Right.
Well, again, if it happened,
Zeros.
Property maintenance.
I know years ago, we used to,
Oh,
everything used to be, it was like 10 or 12 things that were in the bid
yeah,
package.
but that was.
And that was
Right.
one of them, it was like
yeah,
a
but
weekly
that got
mow.
taken out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, so I mean, year to date, this year it hasn't been done.
No,
Right.
But I
don't
don't know,
I don't think it had last year either. 'Cause we
So who mowed it, Tommy? Mowed it when he mowed that, my swap shop?
he might very well have, yeah,
Yeah, no, that's what I'm asking. is
Yeah.
Who did it, cause I know it was done,
right.
so I'm just wondering
Yep.
where that cost went. Did Tommy just do it when he did the other side?
That would be my guess. We weren't charged for it, so I don't know. I mean, we'll have to look at, when we do mowing bids this year, we'll have to look at,
Yeah,
And
cause
that
it's
whole
not a
thing happened.
huge area.
no, the whole thing has to be looked at as far as what's what's mowed, what's not mowed, that should be mowed, there's other areas in town that are not mowed, that should be mowed, and so.
Oh, I saw your newsletter though, I'm excited about the adopt a spot.
Yep.
Good job,
That was all Laura.
good
I
job.
stole it from another town.
That's what all towns do, they
That's
steal
right.
from each other.
Don't
Yeah.
reinvent the wheel. Just
So do we have any, building maintenance that's gonna be done? Anything?
Well, we talked about some paint, but there's some of the asphalt down there, especially after you go down from the compactor, that big pothole down there, and just whether we can do some of that and combine the money between the 2 different years. So if we have money left over this year, plus the money that comes in July, combine those. Asphalt is, fixing all that and doing it right. It may take more than what we currently have in the current budget. So we're looking at that, and then the shack needs a coat of paint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a huge amount of stuff, but the asphalt will be bigger. If we can get it done as far as fix. It's really the downside of after you go past the compactors.
So you're gonna know that before the budget goes through?
Before the budget goes through?
I mean, do we have to change that number?
No, we're gonna try to make this work. We're not, yeah.
You've already got 2,500 already, right?
Because we haven't spent much this year,
Yeah.
Right.
and then we gotta, come July 1, we get another.
Sure.
So that's why we're looking at combining the 2 different years
So
to give us more money.
what would you do, start it before the end of the year?
Yeah, we'd start
Because you
some,
can't
we'd
take
start
that
some
money.
in June or get the contractor to do some in June and bill us for the balance in July type of thing, I mean.
5,000 total, and they've only spent 600.
Right. So that's why we're trying to manage it, so no, we're not looking to go up at all,
All right,
we're
and
just gonna try to work with what we got.
okay, should be all set with paint too then.
No, you should note that they're looking at painting. The building needs to be painted.
Alright.
And they're looking at filling some of the potholes and stuff.
And what about safety equipment? What are we buying?
So that's primarily steel-toed boots. We actually have a brand new policy in our personnel policy that we reimburse up to $75 every other year.
Every other year, okay.
So for steel-toed shoes. And that's, I'm sure they may put gloves in there or other,
Yeah.
safety equipment.
So they do get gloves?
I said they may put gloves in here. We don't buy them, but they may buy a couple pair just to have up there.
Oh, okay, I see.
That was.
I'm so glad to see
It's nice to be warm, isn't it?
Yes.
I was like, the one night I volunteered, she's not gonna come, and I'm gonna have to do it the whole time.
you have much better handwriting.
I know.
You probably wanna
Preschoolers
keep
have
your
to
pen.
read it.
Hi Jenny, try to be on time next week.
No, I'll do it again. That's fine.
And the other thing you'll see there is we have fire extinguishers covered. That's what's actually year to date. It was $140 for up there. So that's why that's also in there. So
How often do you have to change those?
They have to be checked every year, and there's a charge every year, and then they have to be, usually every 10 years, they have to be changed out, but they have to be checked. If they're bad, then they have to replace them, so.
Plus,
They
were
come.
you part of that recall, the ones that we had up there, that big huge recall?
Okay, outside services, we done with safety equipment?
Yep.
Okay. Outside services?
that's primarily all the different recyclables that they come, whether it be tires, picking up tires, Freon, light bulbs.
TVs.
Yeah.
It tends to be
Freon.
those are the outside. So you have North Coast, you have ozone savers.
So do you have to do something with the CFLs?
That one right there.
Contact fluorescence, yeah.
It's another staple piece somewhere.
Yep, the Freon, I've heard that we may be able to way if we can get our fire department, there might be some training that they might be able to come up there and do that might save us. I haven't looked into it yet, but that might be
That would be
something,
nice.
something we can look into.
You usually have to have a machine, which is gonna
Yeah, and I like I said, I haven't even looked into it, I just heard it and it may not be worth it, it just, you know, I don't know.
Not unless you sell it,
Yeah.
to sell it,
Right.
reuse it, so.
Has to be done by a certified,
Yes.
Right, you have to have training, you have to have the equipment, you have to have all that kind of stuff, so I don't know.
And stay up on it, so it's. Going back to the training and stuff, do they do any training? Training and, do they do any training? They have to do yearly training from Labor Board.
You mean sexual harassment training, that type?
All that stuff.
Yeah, we do that here, so the town government handles that, that's coming out of the town government budget.
So they're all.
Huh?
But I mean, their time is all included, so they don't do an extra shift or something for that, or is it all?
No, well, I mean, no, it's not in the wages, it's not included, so again, that's why we need that little bit of a wiggle room. We'll have online training as well, so the town hasn't had sexual harassment training in the past,
No,
for a long time, I mean, a lot of times the fire department can do it.
They've had it, we had it.
Well, the fire department can do it maybe through the state.
Oh, we did it here too, for the town,
Did you?
I
a
don't
few years
remember.
ago.
Who did it?
We did. Fire department.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Cause we did, with the Labor Board, that's what, you've got the 8 or 9 things that you have to do, everybody has to do, and
Sexual harassment
you
training.
can rush through it or you can do it. It just does take some time, that's all.
So outside services, that went up by $3,000.
Yep.
So is that earmarked for something?
No, it's year to date, we're at 5,000.
Right.
Yep.
And so we're already at the budget,
So why did it go up so much?
cause where people are disposing stuff more,
People are recycling,
so,
that's a good thing.
67 the year before, so.
and it was 6,700 the year before, right?
Yep.
So it was over budget that year and it's already gonna be over budget this year, so.
Right.
So we're still paying the garden club too to put flowers there? Where did,
Garden,
We are?
yeah, last year
Garden
we
club where?
asked where the flowers were that got planted there, and I don't think we ever got a definitive answer, but
There's nothing
where
on-
are the flowers
What-
that we
I-
pay $40
There's nothing
for?
under
There's
outside
nothing,
service.
yeah, there's nothing on the budget.
where's Garden
Outside
Club?
Services, Southern Maine Garden Club on 9/1/16.
Right.
That's
That's
2016.
2016.
There's nothing on 17.
No, there's nothing.
Why do I have 16 in front of 17?
I don't know.
I mean, there's nothing year to date, that may have been in that previous year, but you guys probably saw that last year and asked the same question.
We did, that's why I was asking you
So I don't
again,
have-
because we,
I guess I'll tell you, I don't have a new answer.
well, good, cause maybe there was no charge for that.
Cause I wasn't around, so I haven't got a clue.
No charge.
Yeah,
this year.
because I never saw them last year, so it was.
So do you guys use waste management?
Yes.
You guys, us guys.
Yes.
Do we use waste management?
Yes.
I live here now, don't I?
Oh, here we go.
So really you no other choice besides waste
Not
management.
close to, well, there are other choices, but that's closest to Lebanon.
Well, it goes up the bid anyhow, so.
Oh, you do put it up again?
Yeah, waste management went up, so if you look at their contract, it goes by a CPI number. And so I looked that up and it's 3.5%. So the number went up by 3.5%. So that's why we raised that number.
My cow, we have a lot of freon removal.
Nah, you're good. Hold on a second.
Oh my.
That would be whenever someone recycles this refrigerator.
No, but everybody in town must be getting a new fridge. Nasty, I'm telling you.
The economy's improving.
Where did that come from?
A lot. You got freon removal 280,
Yeah.
freon removal 180, freon removal
About $1,000.
262. I mean, that's like, yeah.
Do the residents pay for that when they bring one in?
When you have a refrigerator,
Yeah.
So,
in air conditioner or something.
so do the revenues that come in from people
We
recycling,
have that.
cover the cost of the recycling of the freon?
I don't know. I haven't gotten to that point. We haven't really looked at a lot of the fees. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do.
They bring in more.
Revenues.
Huh?
Is that the $8,000 that come on?
Yeah.
They used to.
The revenue? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, what's that revenue number compared to the $8,000?
Yeah, but usually
You have it in front
it
of you.
used to be.
Transfer station, 22,000
So I'd say, yeah, Yeah.
and change.
so, sounds like it's covering the,
22,000, almost 23,000, $2 short of 23,000.
Okay. It says credits and then it says uncollected balance. What does that mean?
where are you looking?
On the revenue
On the
page.
revenue
Summary
report.
Sounds like it's not being collected.
On the very top of, here, Chuck. Here, just use this one.
Uncollected balance, is that what you're looking at?
Because don't they have to put a guesstimate of what they think the revenues are gonna be?
Please.
Isn't the first line?
Oh.
Uncollected balance.
No, year-to-date net. And
Yeah,
then
but the first one, isn't the first one what we are guesstimating what it's gonna be?
So the reason it says uncollected balance and all of them are negative is because if you look at the budget net, it's all zeros.
Right.
So the uncollected balance will actually equal the year-to-date net. It would normally be subtracting those to see what was left over. So if you have a budget number, for example, if we take the first line, let's go junkyard permits. That's an easy number. If we had a budget, if we're budgeting 500 and we've collected 100, then uncollected balance would be 400. But right now, it's showing a zero budget because nothing was put in there. We've collected 100, so therefore we're $100 in the hole by revenues, because that's just accounting. Does that make sense?
So it's really $100 credit.
That's right, but it's $100 below what was budgeted, because nothing was budgeted, which is right here, zero. Does that?
Okay.
You don't understand?
I know, it doesn't make sense.
So how do I?
Financial spreadsheet.
See if I get
Well,
it.
it's kind of like accounting
See if
is.
I get it, cause I'm not sure I do. The uncollected balance, that's actually what we actually have brought in so far, correct? And then where you would take it out and
Okay, let me.
you take out the actual
Let me
and
do
put
it.
it under budget
I'll
now?
do it. I'll do it even simpler. okay?
Sorry.
Okay, good.
So
Do away with that.
you have current month. You have debits and credits. Does everybody understand that? A credit is revenue coming in.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. A year-to-date net is what we've collected year-to-date. So those credits and those numbers, and if you have debits, those would go against it. So that's how you get a year-to-date net.
Oh,
Correct?
I see it.
Does that make sense so far? Everybody with me? So if you kind of look at Inland Fish and Wildlife Agent Fee, IF&W agent fee, there's a debit of 31, a credit of 843.
What page are you looking at?
Right on the revenue.
I'm on page 1 of revenue.
Well, I know, but if you
Are
could
you
just
on the
stick
general
with the
government?
transfer station,
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
if you could
Well,
just
I'm
stick.
trying to explain the sheet to you and
Right.
the transfer station, so it doesn't have a debit. So I'm trying to explain the
Right.
sheet to you so it makes sense for everything.
Okay.
011.
So does that make, so again, if I go back to Inland Fishery and Wildlife Agency fee,
Right.
you have a $31 debit, you have an 843 credit. Okay, so if a debit is a negative and a credit is a positive, so the net number is 812. Does everybody follow me?
So 812 is what we have actually.
Well, does everybody
coming in.
follow me to how that number 812 came up? Okay, so that's what the year-to-date net is. So now what this does is this does the same thing for expenses. If you've got a budget of 10,000 and I've expensed 9,000, I have $1,000 left over. Does that make sense? So a revenue, if I'm expecting a 10,000 and I've received 8,000, I have 2,000 left over. But if I budget 0, which the first column in all of these budget is 0, minus a number, I don't care, throw whatever number you want in there, the result is going to be a minus number. And that's the uncollected balance, is that minus number. Which
So
is,
they actually have collected $17,000.
that's correct. For, well, let's see,
That was
we're,
really a
so
bottom line question.
Well, 22,000.
17,158, and then Berwick Iron and Metals is they've collected
Right, yeah.
out of the metals that, and then
Right.
North Coast is, yeah.
Right, so total they've collected is $22,098.
What you ought to do is just hide those two lines, the budget line and the uncollected balance. Just
Well,
hide
no,
it,
we
you
just
know?
needed to know that the credits meant that they'd actually collected it, because
Minus
Yeah.
means
where it
you
says
don't know it.
uncollected balance, it looks like
We owe it.
they never
Yeah.
they should have collected this much, but
But
they
they
didn't. So that was really the bottom line question. So the credits, they actually collected those fees.
Can I just ask, since I don't know?
No.
Fine. I don't know who these people are, and I don't need to know their last names, but what do they do? What are the different positions of
So
them?
the first
And I don't
one,
care who does
yeah,
what,
the
but what are
first,
the
the
four
first one is the
positions?
town manager, not town manager,
Transfer
the
station.
transfer station manager, and the others are just attendants.
That was his brother.
And they all basically do everything together.
Okay, so you just kind of swap around.
They-
One
They
does
push
the-
buttons for compactors,
Push
I mean,
take care of the recyclables.
yeah, exactly. So,
Thanks.
So they all don't work all the time either.
Oh, they
Some-
don't all,
No.
okay,
Not all.
alright, well that,
No.
no, so you don't have all four on, because what are the hours again?
Except for Saturday.
27 on Monday, 18 and 18, and 36 on Saturday.
Right, so they're not, so we don't have, so the
they're not all
one
there
day,
together all the time.
Saturday they have all four on, but then the other days not all. on.
Okay, so do we have a new bottom line number?
Well, wait a minute, we haven't finished it yet. Advertising, we still have to do advertising.
There's nothing under advertising, so there's nothing to do there, and there's
Nothing
nothing
else.
under the budget. So we are done
So,
with it.
Yeah,
did
we are.
we're not expecting that they're going to have to advertise to hire somebody, or did you put that money under general government advertising, or, I mean, why did we even have it before and now we don't?
$500 more.
Well,
So like this.
you got a good question, I mean, the last time we used advertising was in 2015.
Right,
So they budgeted for it in 17, they budgeted for it last year, they didn't use it, so.
and I'm not being rude, but they're not spring chickens, what if we have to,
I'm not worried about $100.
okay.
I mean, the waste management contract, it looks like we got plenty of money, so we have to budget for that, but I'm not worried about $100.
All right, any more questions for Trent?
I don't have a bottom number because I didn't recalculate, I mean, you just have to.
I got questions, but
Yeah.
if you guys wanna wait till new business, I'll bring it up then.
On transfer station?
Yeah.
So
Well,
why
if
don't
it's
you
on
just do it
transfer
while we
station,
have
let's
it?
talk about it now.
Bring it up.
Right,
Well, I don't even know if you guys wanna talk about it, like, the revenue.
yeah,
I talked about it last week about people bringing in furniture and stuff, and then the ones at the dump put it into the container that actually hauls the trash. So why are we collecting fees when them fees are supposed to be paying for the disposal of the furniture? Yet they're not putting it in that dumpster, they're putting it in the regular dumpster. So how does that work? When they're paying cash, they're not getting receipts. Like, I've been on this budget committee for how many years? And it's the same thing.
What do you mean they're not getting receipts?
No, people are paying cash and they're not getting receipts for what they're dumping.
are they asking for a receipt?
We give receipts.
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, you don't, Paul. I just talked to a neighbor of mine, and I'll tell you right now, he brought a couch up there, they charged me $20-25 for a couch, and he unloaded it. He paid him cash, they never asked him for a receipt.
It's
And,
automatic.
Paul,
We
wait a
give-
minute, let me talk, okay?
Go ahead.
So as he's unloading the couch over where the furniture stuff goes, there's a dump employee with a pickup of the plow pushing furniture over to the dumpster where the regular trash goes, and they're throwing the furniture in that. So why are people in town paying fees to get rid of stuff when it's going into the dumpster that we're paying as taxpayers to get rid of it to bring it to turnkey? Now you can talk.
Well, we don't throw all the stuff in a dumpster. Now, wait a minute, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Supposing there's a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
We know that waste management is coming. We throw it in a packer rather than in a demo box because it's cheaper to get rid of it in a packer.
So whether it costs, if it's cheaper or not, that guy just paid $20 to get rid of that couch because that's
Well,
the fee that Waste Management
I'm not
costs.
going over the $20. We don't charge $20.
It's only $5.
No, he got charged 20 or 25 bucks, and he stood there as he unloaded the couch by himself because there was nobody to help him. Push it over, and they threw it in the dump. I've gone to the dump a year or two ago when they're throwing like wooden doors into the dumpster, crushing them where the trash goes.
So Chris, I actually asked the waste management guy, not this time when he was here the other day, but the last time when he was here, and they encourage them to fill that dumpster when their guy is coming. So if they're just short of being filled and the waste management guy is coming, they do encourage them to fill it.
Okay, so why
Just saying that
a
he said
taxpayer is paying to get rid of stuff in the demo box when that's not where it's going? It's going in with the regular trash.
Well, it might have to stay in that demo box, is what I'm saying. If that.
But what about the stuff that isn't going in the demo box? It's going over to the regular trash.
So
you're
when
paying.
You throw one couch or two couches or something in there, you don't go call up the resident and say, "Hey, guess what? We threw it in that box to fill it up, so let us give you your $5 back." I mean, that's probably not going to happen. But the waste management guy, I asked him that on purpose because of the questions that we had here last year, and the waste management guy told me that they encourage that box to be full. So if you have something that's over in the demo box, not a lot, they don't want to see 8 couches or whatever, but if you have something that's over in the demo box and you have to fill that and their guy is on the way, they do encourage you to throw 1 or 2 things in there to fill it up, because otherwise you're moving a box that's like 7 or 8 ton and it could be 10 ton for the same exact price. You see what I'm saying? If they're charging us to get rid of that 8-ton box or 10-ton box, and it's only got 6 tons in it, we're wasting money.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
No.
Wait,
That's
wait,
No, we
wait,
only pay
wait. We get they charge by what's in that dumpster for
Right,
weight.
by the 10.
So if there's
by
6
the
ton in there, that's what the town's getting charged.
Right,
So I'm paying furniture being thrown in there to bring it up to 8 ton.
right.
So if they bring that can to Rochester and it's only 6 ton, that's what the town gets charged. Right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not done, Chip.
No, we're having a
So
I
this-
remember you talking about this, about
Yes.
opening on Monday.
So this is the same thing. The guy brought up a small trailer load of shingles. The dump attendant comes out and tells him $75 for a small trailer load. Well, if you're a contractor in town, you bring a whole trailer load there, you're getting charged $75.
Correct.
Okay, so the guy has an old boat motor, and they said put it inside, and we'll only charge you 10 to get rid of your shingles. So what is this? Are we playing Monty Hall
Let's
up at the
make a
dump?
deal.
Let's make a deal. I'm serious.
Absolutely.
Like I said, every year I'm on this budget committee. I wasn't last year because, people get sick of listening to what I have to say. But it's the same stuff since I've been on here.
No, you're right.
Just like paying cash and you're not getting a receipt. So the guy's like, where'd that cash go? Where do you think that cash went?
He's got to get a receipt.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be giving him a receipt as he's
they
dumping
should
it?
be giving him a
Yeah, they
receipt.
should.
Exactly. And then another problem I have is last Tuesday, I don't go to the dump. I have a dumpster on my property. My son and me, that's where we put our trash, okay? Last Tuesday, my son cleaned his house out, used my dump trailer, so we go to the dump. Everybody complains about the line of traffic up at the dump. Our commercial hauler was in front of us. He pulls to the left-hand side, backs up. I pull to the right-hand side, we start unloading, okay? I don't know who was working. One guy comes out. Where does he go? Did he come over to help us? No, he's over helping the commercial hauler unload his truck. In the meantime, we got 6 cars lined up behind us. My truck hasn't got a sticker. I've never had a sticker in the 30 years of, my lifetime I've lived in this town, since I've lived here. Never had a sticker. So when you have your sign up there that says everybody needs a sticker, nobody needs a sticker because they never come check my truck. So, I don't know. It's the same thing. And
You're kind of unmistakable. I think they know.
I don't care.
You're
Just
right.
saying,
I just hate to tell you that little Chris was driving my
Right.
truck. It wasn't
Oh,
me
yeah.
driving the truck, okay?
Yeah.
So, we can keep making excuses for what
No,
goes on up
no,
there.
you know I was.
Do we have a
joking
job
with you. Come on.
description for it there? What they should
I
be
mean,
doing?
it just continues year after year after year. And another thing, like, I watched the video of you guys with the waste management people here, right? And everybody's complaining about Saturdays, the traffic up there. Why don't we do, I recommended this years ago. Open it up like every other town does, Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
And the biggest bitch was, well, nobody wants to work Sundays. That was the excuse that the department head at the time was telling us. Nobody wanted to work on Sundays. Well, if you don't want to work Sundays, hire somebody that does. Because every other town around here, their dumps are open on Sunday. Go to Berwick on Sunday.
Yeah, it's
Well,
true.
why isn't it
You're
open
right.
on Friday?
Right.
Why would it have to be open on Sunday? What's wrong with Friday and Saturday?
Well, because most people work,
Friday
so
work.
Saturday and Sunday, people got the weekend to go to the dump.
So if you
Are
clean
you
it up.
open any evenings?
Yeah, most towns now are open on
Really?
Sunday, their
Yeah.
transfer
Well, it's-
station.
And
Just
then
not on
when you
Sunday.
get-
And
The
I'm-
town department has
And the other
not
thing
been
is,
open on Sunday.
when you have
It's
the
not really
seasonal people
evenings, though.
here,
It closes at
Sunday
like
is the day to
6.
go.
And one more point I gotta make is, I watched that video of the selectmen's meeting with Waste Management. And one of them directly asked the town who hauls in there, right? And he asked about businesses. And when you guys said we had a commercial haulers haul in there, what was their answer?
For free? He said for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Any other town, they're not allowed. I mean, I actually asked my state rep for the ordinance for the state about the haulers, because remember I gave you guys that? But she was busy, but I will get that to you again so you can review it again. And I'm sorry to sit here and bitch and complain like I do every year. Sorry, but when I see stuff going on, it just boggles my mind that every year it's the same thing over and over again.
No, you're
Well,
right.
it should be fair.
Yeah.
If there's a
Right.
fee schedule, it
Right.
should be followed.
That's right.
Period.
Yeah, your friend got charged twice as much. It's
Right.
$10 for a sleeper
Sleeper
sofa.
sofa.
So 2.5 times.
But why is he even,
25
but why are people in this town, maybe you guys can answer that. Why are people in this town even getting charged if they're putting in the dumpster that we're paying the tonnage on to get rid of? Regular household trash. Can you guys answer that question? Why?
I've been trying, but you haven't.
I'm sorry, Chip, but when I get on a roll, I hate to shut up because I'll lose my thought. It's called old age.
So let me,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Chip.
We're calling on you, Chip.
I'll try to work through all your questions. Let's start with commercial haulers. We're in the process of doing a solid waste ordinance, because the one that we have on the books has some environmental committee, not the conservation committee, some environmental committee in charge, which the environmental committee doesn't even exist.
Who's that?
So that's how old the policy is. So we're trying to update the ordinance, and in that ordinance, and I've been doing a lot of work with other towns and looking at what they have a section there that's for commercial haulers. So we're gonna have a section there for commercial haulers that have to be licensed, so we know who they are. There is a question, or so to your point about whether they have to be licensed with the state or not, I'm actually still waiting on an answer from DEP, because one of the exemptions that they have to be licensed is if they are under 10,000 gross vehicle weight and they're carrying municipal waste. Well, my question is municipal waste meaning they're doing waste for the town, or does municipal waste mean anybody's garbage that they're carrying? I'm not sure the definition, so I'm waiting on DEP. Because one could read it either way. One could read it, and I know one of the commercial haulers reads that as though he's exempt. We could read that to say, no, that's not municipal trash, that's personal trash.
Right.
So you
Right.
need to be licensed. So others could read it the other way around. It's a DEP regulation, it's governed by DEP, I'm waiting for a DEP answer.
Well, the other problem we have with the commercial haulers is you don't know where that's coming from.
Well, so that was part of the draft of this policy. I had initially wanted to have a client list, but that felt too intrusive to a business to ask for who their clients were.
Yeah.
So, which I agree with. So I dropped it. But the issue still is how do we know whose trash they have?
That's right.
And I think that's also one of the main reasons that most other towns have them dump it somewhere else. Because if they go to Waste Management and dump it, I don't care whose trash they have. They could have all the trash in Sanford. I don't care, because I'm not paying for it as a tax person. I don't care who they're hauling.
Right.
They can haul anybody.
Right.
So I'm not worried about. So that's one of the bigger reasons I see for having them dump somewhere else, and they pay the tipping fee. Now, people go, "Oh my God, they're going to pay a tipping fee." Do people realize? So, and this goes to your other question. Mainstream solid waste we're being charged $95.62 a ton. That's about 0.0478 cents a pound.
Say that again per pound.
0.0478. Okay, I just divided it by 2,000. So you think about what your household garbage weighs.
Right.
How much is it really going to cost them to dump it at waste transfer? How much? So if they have to go collect people, do they add an extra $1 to their fee? So people, so that they can take it to waste management. It's not like it's going to cost them a ton more per person, because how much waste are they throwing away? So to your other question about a couch, why are they putting it in there? We pay in the demo, we pay $129.94 a ton. So we pay 6.5 cents a pound for demo. So that's one of the reasons they actually will put it there, because it's actually cheaper per ton than in the demo. But, okay, for 150 pounds, which I don't know how many people's garbage is 150 pounds. So for mainstream waste, that's $7.17. For demo, that's $9.75. Now, the reason I did 150 was not for your household garbage, but that's probably maybe what a couch weighs.
Right, sleep a sofa anyway.
So they're saving $2 by throwing it in the solid waste versus the demo is how much we're saving by doing that. I would argue, to your point, where they dump it, whether it be in the solid waste or it be in an open bin, the purpose of charging people is, why should all of us residents pay for you to get rid of your couch? That's something over and above your household trash. The same thing is, why should we pay you to get rid of your tires? Why should we pay for you? So all of those things, people are charged a user fee to do it. It doesn't matter where it's disposed of. What if we're just charged one rate for everything? Then it wouldn't matter whether it went in the open bin or in the compactor. It wouldn't matter.
To help offset the cost.
It's just helping. Why should all the taxpayers pay for you to get rid of your couch? So that's why it doesn't really matter where they put it. Now, I will agree, the optics for a person that pays there and then see it thrown in the trash probably doesn't look very good. So we'll have it. I think we've already had a talk, or we will be having a talk, because we've already discussed some of this, about the optics, about doing that perhaps when there's not a lot of people around. Don't do it right after you took the guy's money, then go throw it in the regular, so it doesn't, because people don't understand, and so it just doesn't look right. To your point about receipts,
you need to have a sign.
We've done that. Your receipts, we agree, and we've said that they need receipts.
You need to have a sign up there telling people to ask for a receipt when they pay for something.
Well, and there needs to be a sign up there that says couches.
Yeah.
Right.
There needs to be a sign there so that Chris's friend knows you don't have to pay $25 to get rid of a couch.
Well, there may be a way we can post it on the side of the shack. Whether people see it or not, we can certainly try for communications to make that easier.
Right. It should be in your solid waste ordinance that you're going to do.
Well, we have a fee schedule, so it already is a fee schedule. So, but just
right, but not everybody.
Most people don't know that.
So again,
It's online. Sorry.
we agree with you about fees need to be fair to everybody.
Right.
Receipts need to be given. A lot of people don't wait for receipts though, so it's kind of hard when you say, because the receipts are big books, so they have to go back in, take the cash in, write their receipt. They come back out, person's gone. Because they're not going to wait around for a receipt.
Well, that's okay if they don't.
But what I'm saying is, so it's hard to. But that's what we're dealing with. Sometimes the receipts are only in the shacks. We're talking about having 2 books. Have one by the recyclables,
it's
so
just
that's
bad news for someone to be collecting money without giving out a receipt.
We totally understand and agree. So we're aware of some of these issues. We're trying to address some of them. Some of the other issues that we're working on an ordinance. But the ordinance, and as far as commercial haulers, that will end up going out to the people to vote. So they either like it or they don't like it, or they, it's, we ultimately vote whether to put that ordinance on the ballot, but then once we vote on that, it's up to the people to approve it or deny
I have
it.
a question. Do the commercial haulers take recycling separately?
So right now, I don't know if they actually take it separately. I know they do pick it up.
Don't they?
Is it separate? Is it a
I
separate
think it
trip
is.
or
I
is
think,
it?
well, I think they have to bag it separately, don't
Yeah.
they?
But do they mix it? I think they sometimes put it in the front or the rear.
Yeah.
With that.
That's okay. I just
So well the issue actually becomes though, because a lot of towns want that recyclables.
Right.
So they don't want a commercial hauler to take the recyclables elsewhere and get the money for it.
Oh.
They want the commercial haulers to bring the recyclables to the town's transfer station. They don't want the solid waste, that goes elsewhere. You want to collect recyclables from Sanford and bring them to us? Again, we don't care. We like that. So we're not worried about outside recyclables. And that's why we don't want to lose town recyclables, because we benefit from that as far as the amount that we have. So that partly that in that ordinance, it's recyclables, town recyclables come to the transfer station. How they do, and we also require that they pick it up, they do a recyclable pickup once a week. Because again, right now there's nothing. So they don't have to do, and we have one major big one, but we also have several smaller ones. And I'm actually quite frankly more concerned about some of the smaller ones because we have no control and they could very easily, they don't have to do recyclables.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to promote recycling to reduce our solid waste, and then having that requirement in the ordinance helps. So.
Another suggestion that I have for transfer station is, I don't even know if they can do this, but another town that I go to that has a transfer station has a separate area for deposit bottles and cans, and that money goes to the fire station.
Yeah, I know the Boy Scouts, haven't the Boy Scouts and the Girl
used
Scouts
to.
done that at
The
times?
shack's still there.
Huh?
The shack is still
Shit out
there.
back, they had for quite
Yeah, I mean, they have done that. The thing is, we have single stream, so if we didn't have single stream, that would be easier to do. But we have single stream.
Well, they have single stream also.
But then they have a place, I
They
mean,
have a separate place.
again, I think that's up to that organization. I think the transfer station would be open to that. I mean, I would be open to that if we wanted to put something up there, either Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or fire department or some organization or someplace, and you share it. This month it's so and so, next month it's, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think we're open to it, but I think that's more on that department to take charge of that.
Okay, so Chris, did you get your questions answered?
Yeah, I just got one more.
Okay.
Well, he asked about.
Everybody needing a sticker and.
Oh yeah.
We are working on a permit process. That's all part of this ordinance. And it will be an annual sticker. The stickers will change colors, and it will be just like your safety inspection stickers. So it will be. So yeah, we're trying to do that, and then we have to enforce checking stickers. It's something we're working on, and something we're going to probably be working on for a while. I've mentioned it before about getting somebody, a teenager to maybe stand up there and do spot checks at the gate. And if they don't have a sticker, turn them away on a Saturday.
That's right.
I mean, it's not, it's pretty easy. So but yeah, it's something that I would like to work on. Yeah. But right now it's a problem, and I mean, the sticker color is stayed the same. There's no rules that if you sell your car, you got to turn in your sticker or show proof, so you could sell your car and to some guy in Sanford, and they now have your car with a sticker, and now they're bringing the trash here because they have to pay for it in Sanford.
Okay, Joyce, did you get your last question answered?
No, I got one more.
Okay.
So, right now we're allowing commercial haulers.
Correct.
And I asked this question at a selectmen's meeting when you had some of the dump guys in here. Say somebody like Waste Management, Oceanside, Troiano, one of them big outfits.
Yep.
Wants to come in town, do a rubbish route.
Yep.
With a packer. Are we gonna allow him up to the dump to dump?
Arguably, we have nothing in our ordinance that can say no.
So they.
I mean, I would argue no because it's a compactor. Why would you make a compactor? But do I have an ordinance that backs that up? I don't. That's one of the reasons why I'm updating the ordinance. I got nothing. They can say, well, why don't you let me? You let him. I got nothing.
I think they'd have to be in town though, right?
Huh?
They'd have to be part of the town. They couldn't come from out of town.
Why not?
Why
the
not?
commercial?
They don't have a
Nothing there
dumpster.
that says
Huh?
they
They
can't.
don't have a
Nothing in the
dumpster. You gotta have a
ordinance.
dumpster to dump.
Well, yeah, but I
You
mean,
got that ordinance.
you have that. Right, and so
So, I
therefore,
mean, if they don't have that, and they don't
Yep.
have that unless they're
Yep.
a resident.
so that would be a way out.
But the bitch always is that it's Lebanon residents' trash that he's picking up.
Right, but it's still,
So if you have another company come in and do that, see, that's like a monopoly. You can't allow another company to come in to do a rubbish route because you don't live in that town. You know what I'm saying?
no, I see what you're saying, but I mean, that's one way out of it.
But would it be
No, you have a
fair?
good point.
Well, it's fair.
Unless
Like
you
right
have
now,
a
like right now, the one with the
residency
commercial
requirement.
route, he can charge whatever he wants because he has no competition because you're not gonna let anybody else in to compete against him.
In town.
Right.
As long as he's a town resident, he can, right now he can do that. As long as he's got a dump state, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm
so
also-
that's the reason for the ordinance. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Joyce, you had a question.
Okay, I just have two minor questions. You have waste management, and then who takes your, the demo?
Waste management.
They do it all?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said waste management charges per pound or per ton?
Ton, right,
Do they also charge a hauling fee?
for the open boxes, well, no, not for the open boxes, they charge us rent.
But for the waste, for the MSW?
Household garbage, no, they charge by the ton.
Even the
They
demo,
don't
even the
charge
demo,
a
even the demo, they don't, they charge, we get charged $200 a month per compactor and $50 a month per open top container, which is what the demo is.
Then why does it matter if that container is full or not, if they only charge for what's in it?
It doesn't matter whether it's full, what they're probably saying is they'd rather have their drivers carrying 8 tons rather than 6 tons.
Right.
It's more efficient for the driver than it is necessarily for us. We're not saving any money by doing that. It's just more efficient for, because we're just, I mean, it doesn't matter whether, if we fill it up with 2 tons of demo, if that's sat in the open tin, we'd be paying for it anyways. What they're saying though, instead of letting a 6 ton, instead of letting a compactor go out with only 6 tons in it, that can hold 8 tons, they prefer to have that
I
driver
understand.
haul 8
So this
tons.
$295 is
everything.
Is charged for weight only, there's no hauling charges.
That's correct, there's no hauling.
Okay.
There's, like I said, there's the monthly container rentals, okay, and then the tonnage.
Okay, thank you.
So
And
I'm actually looking at possibly trying to drop this number, so all the way at the end, because if you look, we're only at 100,000 year to date. And we're budgeting for 285. And so even though I go up by 3.5%, because that's what our rates go up. So in other words, that 95.62 a ton I mentioned, that's what goes up by 3.5%. So the easy way is to take the budgeted number and just go up by 3.5%. But we're starting to get where we're almost too far above what we're actually using. So I may be able to drop that number. I just need to get some numbers from Waste Management. But I am looking to see if I can't lower that number.
And one more, you said commercial haulers. Personally, I think that commercial haulers should get a permit from the town. And
Well, that's
pay for that permit.
That's what they're talking about.
And I don't think this, you could check with your attorney, but I do not believe there's anything wrong with having him give you a list, because Lebanon should not be paying, as Chip said, for trash out of town. We really shouldn't be.
Well, so
Even if he is a commercial hauler, you should know where that trash is coming from, and I think you have every right to do so.
we're actually charging, I think it's $25 for the application. And then I think it's $250 or $100, I forget what it is.
Okay, so you
For the license is in the new ordinance. Right now we have nothing.
Gotcha.
But in the new ordinance, they are gonna be licensed.
But the
The
trash
question
should
that-
come from Lebanon.
Well, so the question remains, and we haven't discussed this at all, as far as how the end is gonna be. But if they're taking it to wherever, I don't even know what trash they have, because it makes no difference.
Well, no, why would
No,
you?
if you're taking it to the transfer
So,
station.
But they're coming
If
from
we're gonna
Lebanon-
still allow them the transfer station, I agree with you. I just don't know how, the problem is that they can give me any kind of a client list they want. How do I know that's true?
Well, the stipulation in your ordinance is that all trash must come from Lebanon.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you can't police that.
Do I-
But
and how do
You
I-
could find out, but then you've got a leg to stand on if you do.
Yeah, but I gotta find out, I gotta take pictures, or I gotta trail them, I mean, it's just, and so
We
a
do,
lot, and a lot
we
of.
do it in Alfred, and we've stopped a couple of commercial.
Right, but a
lawns.
lot of
They're
times it's
done.
easier just to have it to Waste Management, that I don't have to do any policing, that's the other side.
Right.
One of the things is, if you're a commercial hauler, you need a hazmat license as well. Because if you what are you hauling in that truck? I know a bunch of guys that actually drive trucks that haul them boxes, and they all have to take classes and get hazmat licenses and all that. Because if you're hauling paint, bleach, whatever, all that's hazardous material, you need a license. And you also have to have decals on your truck. You look at all the big trucks that haul trash, they have decals on them.
All right, let's move on.
Sorry, Jerry.
Yeah, it's okay, but we are moving on. Recreation Department, Ryan, you're up. Okay.
I don't know.
20.
21.
Huh? No, I don't. She gave it to them, but I never got a copy.
I can move out here.
Copy of this? You want a copy of that?
Hey, how are you? We'll just get really cozy here.
Yes.
See, just so you know, so we don't have a copy of what you're looking at, that's how much, we haven't seen it, we're just making copies now, because we don't even have it, so.
I didn't see it either, I don't think.
Have you seen it yourself?
You should have seen the papers I had. There was stuff in my little locker at work.
I can never find these things. I gotta
And
get
actually, that
tabs.
one's
It's
summer
going out of
camp.
my mind.
Oh, okay.
You never
I don't
I spend half the time looking for the damn thing.
Okay, are you guys ready?
Almost.
Yes,
Do it.
we're ready.
Okay, so we're at wages. Really want to get a move on. It's 8:15.
Yeah, and I'm leaving.
Yeah. So wages have gone up
$200.
100.
No.
100 went from 14 to 14.
Laura, yes. Are you guys putting the festival underneath this somehow now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The 1,500, yes.
Okay. So can I favorite this?
Mm-hmm.
It'll have its own line.
Okay.
So is that why the wages went up?
Yes.
You get $100.
Well,
Good for you.
let me tell
Yeah.
you, I don't know if that's gonna be worth it. I think
my
we should have
God.
jello shots and something else too.
What does this mean, wages points?
I could not even tell you. The only thing I can think of is it should be
It used to come from the fire department. They just took that line. That line used to be a fire
I don't
department.
know.
So why are wages, what are wages points?
He just told you.
Fire department.
Used to be
Well,
fire.
I know that it used to be fire department, but this isn't fire department, so.
When bookkeeping done it, they just used that for everybody, I guess.
Oh,
That 05.
What does it mean?
Well,
That's what 0105 is, why is it there, I haven't got a clue. They've been doing it since 16.
What is the word points mean?
Because
Yeah.
that's the line that the wages are under.
They've been given so many points.
Is
right.
the points.
Points
They used
were spent.
Again, my guess is they've been doing it since 2016, so it didn't wages, it didn't, so he just kept it there, I have no idea why it's there.
Wages is
Skip
always the
just
same
told
number.
you. Skip just gave a good
It's
explanation.
just a different, it was just
Say
left.
that again.
The way we did it, I mean, the points were worth, we paid them by points, First we get so many points for doing a job, and the points were worth so many dollars, that was it. That's how that was put in there, but it just got transferred into other departments. That's all.
Okay, so that should just be taken
It
out.
should, yeah, it should be, just do away with the point, sorry.
Can you make sure that is taken out?
Well, so wages,
05
let me
is,
try to explain this again. 0105
His wage.
for everybody,
Bye, Judy. Is that your purse?
yeah.
If there's much money in it, you can just leave it. We'll take care of it for you.
Divvy it up.
Isn't she sweet?
I'll see you
We'll
tomorrow.
share.
donate it to trash
One or
station.
two.
I
Can I
don't think
Can I
so.
use to make a copy? I don't have that.
Sure.
Can I get a copy of that? I don't
Of what?
have this.
Of what?
I have everything else, I don't have this rec.
There may be stuff up there, up the top of the filing cabinet was.
Okay,
You really
so-
wanna get through?
Don't worry about it, I'll push you out of the way.
That's where we put all the leftovers that weren't taken from different meetings.
Yeah.
If it's not, I'll make you a copy.
Alright. It's
So-
right here.
Charge you 50 cents.
Okay, so can this line be eliminated, the points, can the wages be moved up to
I
wages?
just take the points out.
Just take the word points out and put wages there.
Take out
Well, the
05.
wages are already here.
Right,
But
but
he's
he's
got 'em on the
telling
wrong
you
line.
05 means wages.
So I'll try to explain it again if somebody will give me a chance. So 0105 in the system, in Trio, for everybody is wages points. Okay? It was originally put in there, it probably started from fire. So fire wanted to have a way to keep track of points and so, which was a wage type of a number, so they created that category. For some reason, in 16 actual, got logged in under wages points. You can see that on your sheet here. Okay, even though 15 actual was in the correct one under regular wages. And so in 17's budget, the budget committee approved, and I think that was maybe you, Jerry? Were you on the budget committee for 17? You approved a $1,200 number under wages points. And then they got logged, the actual.
Oh, it's your fault now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, the actual got put in the same line, and they've been using that throughout. So if we move it to 0101, then you don't necessarily have the history. So my guess is that's why they've kept it. If you want to
Okay.
move it up to 0101, it's fine. It's still a wage category, but I can't change the points.
Okay, well, last year, as I've got right in front of me, it says stipend. Do you get paid
Yes.
hourly?
No, I get paid stipend.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
So that would be the difference between the wages points and the stipend. So last year, we went by stipend. So when they did it on the
Did it say-
spreadsheet,
did it
they
say-
called- it says
It
stipend,
does say
right?
stipend.
Okay, so
Stipend.
let
This
me
is from Trio.
let me try to
Oh, yeah, it's 05. But
so let me try to help explain again, which I
no,
tried.
okay, you don't need to do that. I got it. Okay? I do, and I see that when I look at the retail budget, it does say points. On here it says stipend.
That's because that was manually put in.
I got that. I got that before when you told me that these were done manually because these were done in spreadsheet and this is Trio.
That's right.
So I got that.
So do you want it moved or not?
Does anyone get paid by points anymore?
No.
Why not, can you get rid of it? Can you just take it out?
Well, I can't.
Well, I
I
mean,
don't
even
take it
if-
out because you lose history.
I mean, even if it was
Oh.
left on, the points isn't. The stipend makes more sense than points.
I have to look at
I mean,
those.
I earn points at Panera's. I'm not getting a wage. I'm not getting cash.
I don't know if we have a category for stipend. If we do, was that where you would prefer it? If we have a wage category that says stipend?
It would be clearer
Okay.
if it said stipend instead of points.
If we don't have stipend, would you prefer it under regular wages?
Or even, that would be fine. Or just dropping the word points would be,
Well, again, that's I don't know whether he can do that. I don't know whether that, when you have history, whether you can just go in and change it. I mean, accounting is weird. Our system is weird. It's not.
Can I get a copy of that? Cause it's
Of
not
what?
up there, that recreation.
I thought you said it was up there.
No, the recreation / summer camp is, only part of it was up there.
sorry,
I know, but I can't write on yours.
yes, okay.
I can write on yours if you want.
Okay, can we go back to where we're at, please? We're really getting off track and it's getting late. So office supplies, anybody have any questions with office supplies? So it's up $670 from last year. No, sorry,
No, it's not.
$67.
No, it's
No,
actually
it's
down.
Oh, it's
down.
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 What did I say?
Sorry.
$70 down.
So what do you have for
Sorry, I'm
office
thinking
supplies?
here. Yeah.
It's not office supplies, it's supplies. It's like stuff that I buy for trunk or treating, the Easter event. We had
So do we wanna change office supplies to,
supplies, like
Just
event
saying.
things, I mean,
Yeah, cause they're
There is
definitely
a
not
regular
off
supplies line.
It's duplication.
Right. That's like, that's all your candy and your little toys
Yep.
and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So that's definitely not office supplies.
nope. I don't buy any office supplies.
Okay. So,
so maybe we put that down another?
well, underneath.
Like
Well,
outside,
supplies.
outside service.
No, there is a supplies line.
Yeah.
If you look, last year's it said supplies.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 10.10-01.
One, right.
And that's office supplies.
That's what it says, office supplies this
Right.
year.
Yeah, 'cause
That's
that's what I write
01.
down, my paper when I fill it out.
Yeah, the other supplies doesn't have a number.
That supplies as a total,
Yeah,
it's a subtotal, it's a total number, that's why it says supplies.
right. See, that's the department,
Category 10 is supplies, and then under that you have 1001, 1002, whatever.
Right, all different.
You have all sorts of different types of supplies. We don't have a recreational supplies, we don't have candy supplies, we don't have, so, I mean, we could break them down to the nth
Yeah.
degree, but I'm not sure that, you know. But whenever we do that, that's for every department, so it's called a schedule of accounts. So 1001 is office supplies for everybody.
but that's not,
So we really can't move it.
Is there another heading that would be more
Again,
appropriate?
you could do that, but then you're moving stuff around, you don't get history, the history's not gonna move.
You got miscellaneous supplies.
It is
and services,
documented.
Should be.
It is
1015, right?
It is documented under the under the expenses. It says candy for trunk or treat.
right.
So under the law, right, in the actual expense report, you see exactly what it was, this doesn't, you know, so. But it's just saying you've got these categories, where do we do it? Do we really wanna make another line just for, you know, and they didn't, and so if we do that now, then what happens is then you lose that you know, the history, then it's mismatched, it's not,
Right.
so.
So we'll just explain that she doesn't really have an office.
Well, it is in the detailed report. It says
Yeah,
what,
it is.
what it's for. It gives a description of what it's for.
Is that what it's always been?
Are you the only one that gets paid?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And is it by the hour or?
No, I kinda take half like, at the end of the year, and the other half, before the end of the cycle, billing cycle.
Okay.
So, Chip, what does it mean besides the trunk or treat where it says card member service?
Talk to her, I don't,
I
It's
come
her
in
budget.
here, it's the credit card, that's how they do it,
it's
yeah,
just, that's just that they showed they
Yep.
purchased it on the credit card, okay. Thank you. So before we make a decision on this, we're also going to see another line on here that says for the festival.
so again, yes, there'll be a festival line. We can't do it on these sheets because there is no festival, and without an expense, it won't print out. We don't have a current expense, and so this prints out.
will you? No.
So this,
I will in
you
May.
know, so there was one of the things was a request to ask Jordan to put it on this. We can't do that because we print it out of here, it only prints what's in the system.
Okay.
So even if we put it in the system, if it's got zeros, it won't print out.
I got you.
So next year it will print out, no problem, but the current year it won't.
And
And
that's,
so we'll have to handwrite it in, 1,500, and so when we'll put a new budget, so when we finally do the budgets, if it gets approved, he'll put that number in, the line item, so the line item's created,
Okay.
it just won't print because there's nothing in it.
Are they
There's no
going to
dollar
have
cents.
are they also gonna have a revenue line?
They do have a revenue.
Because they,
Under revenue.
it's on here now, the festival?
I don't know if it's on.
Well, that's what I'm asking, because
So
that account carries over, right? So whatever's in there right now is also added to her
So
budget.
we have,
That paper.
we have,
That paper.
did you make copies of that?
Donations.
Okay.
Didn't we? You
Donations.
did.
I'm not sure I
Listed
did.
under donations for $296 to the rec
I'm not sure I
department.
did that one. I don't see it on
It's
here.
not rec department.
I didn't do that one,
It's
so I didn't
not
get the
rec
update, I didn't get
department.
the, did I get the
Oh,
updated one?
right, that's under here.
Didn't you make copies?
I don't think I did. No, I didn't.
Recreation department.
So we have there's a separate account for the donations. So the donations are in basically their kind of own separate account. So I don't know on the revenue report, does it show there on the revenue report?
It does show donations on the, on the second page here, it says $296.
On here, it says, wait a minute,
That's under rec.
donations,
Right,
$100.
Was that under rec or is it under
It's
annual
under
festival?
rec.
Under
Recreation.
That's separate,
yeah.
that's not annual festival, cause the annual festival was not under rec when you, under what you're looking at.
Okay,
So we have a separate page that's like an accounting going all the way back to 13-14
okay,
of all the revenues and the balances, and so essentially they would take donations in, but those donations would roll from year to year,
correct.
and we would get a stipend. So the way they would do it is they would spend the stipend first, and then they would go into donations for anything over that, and anything that was left over would then carry on to the next year. And it would just keep carrying on like that.
Is that going to continue to happen with it under the recreation department now?
Yes.
So,
So again, we'll have a separate accounting for donations, because it's not really revenue.
right,
Revenue kind of goes into our checking account.
right,
So this isn't revenue, it has to be accounted for separately in a separate account.
okay.
So you won't, so we will give you something like this next year for each year, so you see the balances. You can see what came in.
Can we get that
I'm
one?
gonna make a copy for you right now. But I can't
Oh,
talk.
good, will you make a copy of that one page for me, cause I don't have that one
Which
page.
page? I want
That
The
one.
recreation,
This
okay.
one right
I
here.
don't want one of those, but I want one of those.
You want one of
She wants
these?
the
I want
revenue
that.
summary report.
One of those.
You want a summary report?
There
I
might
don't
be
have
a,
one. If you want me to take this
This
thing
yours?
over.
Well, this is the annual festival here.
Yeah, that's for all the accounts.
No.
This is everything.
Oh, Chip, wait, I'll meet you out there. He's bound and determined to give me that front page.
okay, so does anybody have any more questions?
When this committee makes a vote on the recreation department, will that include the 1,500?
Yeah, since it's gonna be combined, it should be in there also.
Is that gonna be worded properly too in the thing?
In the thing.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
But it's 1,500, yes. Okay.
So what is the 1,500? Is it just an expense that's set aside for the festival?
Yes.
So it just comes out of,
So that's for you.
Thank you.
It's
For
for them
some
to put on the
reason I didn't-
festival, it's,
It gets voted on every year.
They're on
I know.
yes.
So how much is in there now?
Will it this year, where it's
Yeah.
included in recreation?
Seven,
Done without a budget.
They have the 1,500 for this year that we voted on last year, and then the balance of revenue is 747. So they'll have 1,500 and 747 or whatever else they bring in.
Before they get another 1,500.
Yeah, cause we already voted for the present 1,500. So this will be for next year, the new 1,500.
Self-funded.
But none of that's gonna be,
Yeah.
we're not gonna see any budget on that, it's just gonna be the straight 1,500, that's it.
Take one and pass it around.
I don't know.
$300 that's on the voting.
So which one of these numbers shows what's sitting in that account right now?
The bottom right.
The bottom
This
right.
right now is what's sitting there right now waiting for
That's
this
correct.
next festival.
Our towns, I think they charged $20 last year.
2018.
And then if they were late, they were $10.
I know, yeah.
So in reality, with the 1,500, she has 2247
Right.
to spend on the festival.
That's correct.
And what's it come out first, the 1,500, right?
Yes.
Because that can't be carried over.
Yeah, you don't really have to worry about that. Jordan does it at his end.
Just wanna know, so, but I still have to fill out my forms, right, like I do?
Yeah,
Okay, just wanna make sure. Okay. Cause how soon do you want those forms? Cause
I already got my date,
How was your meeting?
got my time. Not bad. We've got a bunch of ideas and a bunch of free ideas. So let's bring it back to the old home days. That's my goal. Do you remember when you couldn't walk over there though?
Yes.
Because
Chris, why are you not looking at me? You don't remember those days?
I knew about it going, so.
I remember when you couldn't walk over there.
I made a suggestion a couple of years ago that I think you should go see like the golf course across from SDS. The mini golf course.
Oh, yep.
Have it there because you're gonna have more traffic going by and stuff and seeing it. Whereas most people don't even know that it's here or where it is or anything else.
Well, that's
Only
what-
that plus you drive, you're getting business for that business, so I'm sure they help you guys out.
You need to bring back some of the businesses and put them back into the festival like it used to be years ago.
I agree with that.
You know, Kenny Auto used to have that smashing thing. You guys did a Jaws of Life event thing there. Waste Management was there with a truck and the kids used to climb in that thing and get little trinket things. State Cruiser was there and the kids got to sit in their cars. I mean, you gotta do things. Let's go back to wheelbarrows and races and the three-legged races and a big old twister game for the kids and Jenga for the kids and a dunk tank that Chip is gonna be in.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
Yep.
I'm gonna start saving quarters now then.
Bingos.
It's gonna be more than quarters.
Bingos in the gym, like every hour we do like a bingo game, penny raffles. What's the old thing with the frying pan? You know, the cast iron frying pan.
toss.
Yeah,
They had,
gotta work on
they had
that.
that at the Acton Fair, that was fun.
Some of the old
You won,
race
didn't you?
cars, well, not race cars.
I never won. I came in second once.
Back, trying to see about like a little pen zoo. So yeah, that was my quick
Alright,
question
so,
too.
Tony.
For you know, little petting zoo insurance, am I covered?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay, just want to make sure.
As long as
Are
it's on
you-
town property,
Did
right?
you
Yeah, it's under the town, it's liability, yeah.
did you check into that ice
Outdoor
skating thing?
recreation, doesn't
Yes,
that fall under
yes.
outdoor, huh?
Did you check into ice skating?
Yes,
Sure did.
he did.
Are we covered?
Yeah,
Yes.
Are you serious?
I am.
Okay. Got my project. Thank you.
I'm already working on it.
Okay.
I've already talked to the DEP, a place to put it, make this whole back here a park.
Here? Yeah.
Yeah, well behind here, up until the power lines are.
Right. Awesome. Over here to the end of the
Well,
road?
the stream is a
Or
little issue, the stream
Okay.
is a little issue,
but this way?
well,
In
all the way so that we can
Yeah.
connect the walking path to the school walking paths behind the schools.
Great. So then I think the next thing is to plan like a thing with the town and get people who have companies that are willing to come in and do some donation things.
Well,
Like I said to you, there's no reason why we couldn't do this.
I hear you, I hear you.
Okay.
You know, that stream
Sounds
is
like
what
you've
feeds
got
that,
lots of
the
ideas.
pond
Oh,
out there, so
quick.
that stream does run right down.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, that's why
I mean,
we
that's
can't
what-
do it there,
that's
we
what you
gotta do it further this side, yep.
It's a stream that runs all the
Yeah,
way down.
yeah, that's about it.
Huh?
You know, breaking the
That's
cat.
why we had to plant trees, remember?
What, there?
And
Anyway,
they cut all the trees.
I expect to see
With
you
Yeah.
at my trunk or treating
Oh,
event
well,
this
with
year.
yeah, because that's what I checked, like I have two
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
And put three at the pond and each piece.
do we have any more
I don't
questions
want
for?
advertisement. I already have a waiting list of 50 kids. I don't want advertisement. I'll go. I'll volunteer. I'll do whatever you tell me to. Just don't put me over on it.
Anybody have any more questions?
0.8
I
acres.
say we give her more money because she's full of great ideas.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Was she volunteering for the dunk tank?
What's that?
That's what the contingency fund for.
Great idea.
Good ideas, yeah.
Good idea.
Thank you.
I'm all done? Going home, eat something now. Have fun, y'all.
We need two dunk tanks, Chris and I on either one, you know, side by side.
Let's see what time it is, everybody.
When's this thing?
It's May 19th.
Sorry, I'm mowing grass.
Boom, boom.
That's my booming season.
I think that we should have like time frame.
Him and I will talk smack back and forth, it'll be fun.
Let's see which one has the more liner.
Just one day or a week?
Just one day. And then we're Yorker
I'll pull my
Society's
thong
gonna
out,
do like
okay?
a meal thing that night, a dinner thing, and we're gonna do like a movie night later on top of it, so. It's still in the process, but tonight was the night to set the date and come up with ideas and go from there.
How many people did you wind up with on your committee, Georgie?
I had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in me there.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for you. Good job.
Yeah. So, and I got one that was sick, but I already gave her a list of things to do, so. Have a great night, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, library, you're up.
Unless I'm in your way, you want me to sit on the
No,
other
you're,
side?
no, you, no, no, no,
Okay.
you're fine.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know how I was missing all of these.
So I got one guy that was
No, I have, I didn't want to hear until I,
5501.
and I think I must have just.
I haven't seen it, we haven't seen it.
That one
Oh,
packet.
I write that a lot.
I keep them all in
Oh,
here
yeah.
until I get home, and then I put them where they belong, so I don't mess up. Yeah.
None for you, Jenny.
Just keep them all.
That's alright.
Oh, I love your.
No, that's not tonight.
No, someone.
Makes it easier.
Did I see a thing that
All
you
right.
wanna actually start doing that Alzheimer's cafe?
I can't find anybody to run it, but we're gonna do it because we need it. So.
Good for you, I wish you well
We're
with
gonna
it, I know
start it with an
everybody was
hour.
excited about that.
Yeah, we'll start it in an hour and see what we need.
Okay, go ahead, Marcy.
We can't wait anymore.
What's that?
So this is a breakdown of all what I asked for last year, what was approved last year, what the increase is. Most of them are zero, so yay.
Bring you one.
Nope, got it. Oh, I made an extra one? Awesome.
Well, Judy left.
Oh,
Oh, do you
We'll
want me
save
to
it
take, where's the extra one?
there's one right there.
I'll take it, I'll see you tomorrow.
So it just starts at the top. Wages, employee costs are just payroll taxes. Supplies and books are the same as last year. Equipment, we bought a Chromebook last year, so we have one computer in the library. I would like to have two, so when I have two friends come in, they don't have to fight over the same Chromebook. Events, summer reading. If you look at last year, I went over summer reading by I think like $12. I don't have that form, but I could use a little bit more for summer reading. It's getting more popular. I'm getting more kids, which makes I have to buy more stuff. The summer reading program is we do a kids come in and they log how many books they read, but I also do on Thursdays a STEM-based, science-based class from 12:30 to 1:30. Kids come in, there's no cost for it. This past summer we did Build a Better World. We found a sister library in Lebanon, Oregon, and we started a pen pal program. We told them what it was like to live in Lebanon. They told us what it was like to live in Oregon. It was really kind of fun, and we're on the opposite corners of the world. We planted a bunch of lupin out at the school. We did a day where we had the Alpha Dog Rescue come in, and the kids made toys for the rescue dogs, and she brought in one of her dogs, and the kids got to play with the dog and learn all about the rescue, which I didn't know anything about. We rescued our dog from New Hampshire, and so it was nice to get that information out. A little word of mouth for them. They do a great job. So that's the sort of thing that we do during the summer. This was a little bit different. Usually what I do for the summer reading program is I find things that are inexpensive and build a program around it. This year, Build a Better World was something that all the libraries across the United States did. So I couldn't say no to that. I like to build a better world, and the kids really had fun doing it. So that's $50 more for summer reading and $50 more for events that I have at the library. Like we're doing a Valentine's Day thing where the kids can come in and make crafts. We usually try to do something once a month. We've done other non-kid related things like board game night. There were kids there, but there was also people from the community that came in. Any sort of the Alzheimer's cafe that we were talking about. I'd like to have, some sort of cookies, crackers, something that we can put out for,
Yeah, do you have that here where
that's
it's a new
all part of
program that you're
events.
starting?
All part of events.
Because I know there are a lot of people looking forward to that. They've been waiting for it.
I'm happy that they're happy.
Yeah.
Nobody has contacted me yet, so I'll be ready for the influx.
I wanted to ask you about it before I put anything.
Yep, no problem. So it's going to be the third Saturday, except for Georgie just did the the Lebanon Festival on the third Saturday. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have to reschedule that one. But that's the plan, to keep it on the third Saturday so that it flows and people know, oh, it's the third Saturday, we can go down to the library. So that those outside services that is under that is an increase of $100. No more money for postage. I think it's fine. So the whole increase for the whole budget is $250. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I think it's a bargain.
I agree. Well, on top of my budget, I also fundraised. I sold the cups this year that are going for the museum passes. So I still have some more cups. So as soon as I sell all those cups and crocks, I think I have probably less than 20 with both of them combined. So once those are all gone, we'll look at buying those passes. I do the raffle baskets, I do the book sale, and that goes for extra things that aren't covered in
Did
the
you get a
budget.
bunch of grants this year too?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
I've written a bunch of grants. I haven't gotten all of the grants, but we did get the Reading Nook Corner, but it also ended up coming with 3 iPads, which are loaded with kids games and learning games that people can come in and sign out while they're at the library. They're not to be removed from the library. That came at no cost to us. It was like kind of a bonus on that grant. That grant a little bit fell apart between the 2 companies that were in a partnership. We kind of threw our hands up and they said, well, what would you like instead of the listening centers, which was not my first choice. I said, we would love iPads. That would be great. And they said, great, buy them and we'll reimburse you for them. So the school actually bought them and reimbursed. They did that for us, which was nice because it was shared service. Nice. So, and then we always have the Walmart grant, which is an extra $1,000 a year, $250 a quarter. So that goes towards weird stuff that's not in the budget that all of a sudden we're like, oh, it would be really nice. New bean bags that the kids jumped on and broke, but we don't have a bean bag budget. Or like the other day, out of raised funds, I just dropped off a PO to Jordan. They have Dr. Seuss Legos. That's not in the budget. Legos aren't in the budget. But we have the raised funds so we can make those things happen. We also won a grant for $1,000 to start a Lego club for teenagers, anybody 12 and up. They're the big Lego sets that make you want to gag when you pay for them at the store, the architectural sets. So that's Chip, if you want to be a mentor, you can come on over. They're very fancy. So we have them all in, I bought them. I've put the report back out to the Maine State Library. Now I just have to find a day that works for all my senior guys that want to come in and build. And then hopefully what's going to happen is there's going to be little guys that go, hey, I want to do that. And so my teen guys will mentor my little guys. That's my plan. I got a little sneaky in there, but.
Now that grant money or the money you raise, where does that go? Does that go to the town or the school or?
It's all town. So we keep that separate. Yeah. So any fundraising, I have a raised fund account and that does roll over year to year. I still have to apply for that money. I can't, and I deposit the checks here. They keep a running total separate, but Chip, that's in the general fund though, right? But sectioned off of this is your money.
I'm not 100%. I wouldn't
either.
I'm not positive.
I know I put it there's a library number that it goes under, and if I ask Jordan, he has an accounting of it. So, but I'm not sure where it actually lives. But it lives with you.
I'm not sure if it's in the general checking account, general fund, so to speak, or if he has a separate account for that. I mean, it's kind of like the annual festival has its own that rotates donations, so that's kind of the same thing. But I don't.
So can we get a copy of that too? Like we got a copy of the festival one?
Yeah, I
I mean, I don't know why we don't have that already, so we can.
Because it's not listed under revenue.
And I don't have a current number for you. I have probably 3 months ago number, but I put more money in it since then. We're also doing a paint your own sign class, and we're gonna earn $6 off of every sign. We'll go to the library, $10 will go to the lady who's coming to teach it. So, and I already have tons of people signed up for it.
Good, because I can't come.
That's all right. We'll do it again. She's excited about coming back.
When
so.
is it? Didn't see
February
that.
7th and 10th. There,
Oh.
it's on the Facebook page under events. You can find it there. So I'm a good steward for the money that you give me, but I'm also raising money for other stuff that, would be nice to have. Mm-hmm. These are needs. Those are wants. And any fundraising I do, I volunteer my time for. It's just something that I feel strongly about, so.
Do you still have room for others in that sign painting class?
Mm-hmm. There's 15 people in each class. I have nobody signed up for Saturday yet. I have people who are interested, but until they pay me, their spot is not guaranteed. And then I have.
Whatever you want on the sign?
She's making a specific sign that says home on it, but she's open to making other
I
signs
need
too.
an eggs for sale sign.
Oh. Kelly, no, you're fine. Kelly from Pat's Prim, she'll make you anything you ask for. Just go to her Facebook page, and that's the thing. She comes with her own following, which people that don't even live in Lebanon are coming. So if it goes well, she's open to coming back. She's already talking about doing more classes.
And how much is the class?
16.
I might be able to come on Saturday.
Oh, we'll see. I'll be there.
I'll come on Wednesday. Check.
Sounds like your library's in good hands.
Thank you. I kind of like it there.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
It's money well spent.
Thank you, ma'am.
No.
Oh, I think it's
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just ask.
the people, yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, well, ask the kid.
Okay.
I'm illiterate.
All right.
I'm illiterate on the puncher.
You need a little more training, that's all.
No, I need none training.
So, Nayad? Is that Nayad? Does that mean Europe?
That's all.
Okay.
European.
5,000
Okay.
went down.
Any questions?
So just 6,600 was the previous budget. You'll see year to date, we only had to pay them $2,077. And part of that is they got more grant money or whatever, I'm not 100% positive. So they really didn't need all of that, so we actually might pay them a little bit more in June before the year's done for the coming summer, even though to do it out of this budget, which means that we don't need all of that for the next year, and it has been successful. Obviously, it's a long-term thing, they're gonna have to continue doing it, but
This is the invasive plant, right?
so that's why we felt we could come down to 5,000 without
So-
any issues.
What's the timeline? Do they have a timeline?
Yeah, they tend to do it in more towards the late summer because you got to wait for the plants to emerge to a certain level, which is the right time to they pull it as well as they use a herbicide to kill it, but you can't pull it when they're really, really tiny. You got to wait for them to be a certain size, and then you also are trying to kill it before it goes to flower, because then it spreads its ugliness. So.
What do they do with it once they pull it up?
I don't know.
You know, they put it in big huge traps and they take it away.
No, how many years? Do they take it?
It's just
They
it's
said
kind of
5 or 6.
it's gonna be 5 or 6. I mean, they have to
guessing.
they got to evaluate. I mean, this may be one of those things that. I mean, I think hand pulling is better, but that's also very labor intensive. So yeah, no. I mean, I think they have a really, really good handle on it. And there's a video here. If you watch one of the videos, you can see they do a much better job of telling you how it went than I did. But it's probably a long term. It's probably a long term thing. So, but yeah, and they try to get grant money and they get help from the state and stuff. So
Now Milton's matching what we're
Yep.
doing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, Milton actually budgets more than we budget for, but they haven't had to spend it. so.
Yeah, we budgeted 6,600 last year, Milton budgeted 10,000.
So how much do you think you're asking for this year? 5,000?
5,000.
Okay. But we probably won't use all that if you're gonna pay out of this year's funds.
It all depends, part of it depends upon, well, we're gonna pay, just because we have money already in the current year budget, we have up to 6,600, so if we can do maybe 2,500, then, you know, it gets us, so we don't know how much grant money they're gonna get and how much state aid they're gonna get, so I don't think we'll use it, but I don't know.
Okay.
So what you're talking about is putting some kind of like on account towards this year's
Well, they may,
process.
yeah. I mean, cause I can use it out of the current budget, correct.
Right.
So I think 5 is probably sustainable, and 5 will probably do the year after, the year after, the year after, because some years may be heavier than others. Some years states are more generous than others, so.
Okay, you ready to move on to general assistance?
Just like that. I have a question about why it's not being used, the general assistance budget. We certainly have a lot of people who could use it.
GA has very, very specific guidelines for all sorts of income and everything else, and I'm not trained in GA. I'm not sure any of us are.
Joyce's.
You know, Joyce's. So, I mean, Joyce could probably tell you more than I can. I just know that there's very, very specific requirements.
Are people applying for it?
People are applying. Some people are getting denied.
Yeah, okay.
We have.
Because that's the only reason it wouldn't be spent, is either people don't know about it, they don't know they can come to the town for assistance, or they're applying, they're not eligible. It is based on income and your expenses. And the town has to go by the state guidelines. Like, you guys follow the state ordinance?
Yeah.
Maybe people don't know that it's available.
So since you know about it, and I can actually ask you about it, does it go by gross income or by net income after their bills are paid?
You go by gross income.
That's what I thought. So if you have somebody that's doing just fine, but they need a little help this month or for 6 months because they got ill, it all goes by their gross income off their last year's tax returns, right?
You have to give at least 4 weeks, because you may not have, you may be in a bad place in June, but you may be fine, and because you maybe you missed a lot of time, so your income for the past 2 weeks, it's actually 30 days. You look at the you look at the past 30 days, what
gross
they made.
Income.
What they made.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not based off the gross income from their previous year's tax return, just
30
for the
months. 30 months.
30 days.
30 days. Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm dying.
So basically, these people that are applying, what you're saying is these people that are applying for general assistance, they're over the income level over the past 30 days, and somehow they're still struggling.
They might be, yeah.
Well, so also understand that we actually aren't involved in it because we're not allowed to be. It's confidential.
That.
So
right.
I ask how it's going, but I don't know names. I don't know a lot of specifics because I'm not allowed to.
Right.
I do know there's some instances of people not providing information that's required.
Okay.
If you don't provide us information,
right.
You know, I know there's instances of people lying, and Jenny tends to call the state. The state's aware of a lot of people because they try it in different. They keep a record of it. So it's just so there's a few of those as well for reasons, and they may very well be somewhat deserving, but yet if they lie and they don't divulge information, then they screw themselves.
Yeah,
so
they're not eligible.
Right. So
120 days if they're caught.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it's you know, and again, we've even talked about, because it's for the needy, so part of GA we get reimbursed.
Right.
So from the state, but our referendum is such that we could actually use it for other people
Right.
And so if Jenny has one that just missed, but she felt they really had a need, she knows to come to us, and we might.
And you can authorize them.
We could come do it out of this. We have
You just wouldn't get
needy
reimbursed.
fund. We just wouldn't get reimbursed because we don't
Okay.
meet the state guidelines.
Well, that makes sense.
So I mean, we have that ability to do that, but quite frankly, that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So I mean, it's while it may seem that we have a lot of people, because it doesn't help if you have income, but you don't budget yourself properly and you spend too much, it doesn't account for that. So.
And you know, I know that I use that a lot, but you know, really, a lot of it is that a surprise comes up or whatever, and you know, the surprise comes up and you're hurting right now, but for the past 30 days you weren't, so you're not eligible, or you know, or next week you may recover. Yep. You know.
So while we don't use it, you know, there's always a chance we might, and it's not a huge number, especially since we get reimbursed for half of it. So the only thing we took out was the phone. So we're not, you know, the phone is, we just took that $100 out because it's not part of that, because we're doing that under general government, because this is GA for assistance. It's not for our phone. That was for the GA phone. It should never have been in here, because how is paying for the GA phone helping the needy?
So that was to pay for the telephone line. That's for right. The 24-hour.
We have a cell phone, whether it be that service or that card for minutes or whatever, however we do it. So that's what that was originally for, which really shouldn't be there. But that's what was always there.
Okay.
So that's why everything else is really the same. We just. And yeah, one could say we don't use it, but it's, you know, maybe someday we will.
So if it doesn't get used, which doesn't look like it got used in 2017, it's not going to get used in 2018, what happens with the rest of that money?
Just like any other department, it just goes in the general fund.
Rolls back into the general fund.
Yep. Just like any other department.
So
I can hear your thought.
Yeah. So what happens to that money? I mean, it goes back into the general fund. So it's been collected.
19,000.
Collected by who?
It's lowered by,
Taxes.
and then the lowers your tax.
Right.
Helps to offset the tax bill.
That was it. Okay.
Well, that's only if we're allowed to use that. So, which they took that off the referendums, that we're allowed to use up to a certain amount out of the general fund to lower tax commitments. We used to have a referendum article that allowed us to do that. That got taken away.
So it doesn't go to pay.
So no, I mean, it's in the general, it goes in the general fund, but we can't just, I mean, the general fund always it should have over $1 million in it, because we have cash flows, no different than any other business. Because I mean, if you run it low, and it had been low for a while, that's why you made up what they call tax incremental financing. You have to get a TIF because you don't have tax receipts in yet, but you need cash flow. And if you don't have it in your bank account, you got to borrow money until you get tax money in. So that's why you always need to have that general fund. It has to be at a safe level, and the accountants look at that to make sure it's at a safe level, and we get graded on that level. So that's the general. So all the excess money from every department, that's where it goes into that. And so therefore, if we have excess of $100,000 and went across all the departments, then arguably our general fund goes up by $100,000 for that year. So it just rolls. I mean, it doesn't get spent. There's nothing, we can't spend anything that's not in this budget.
But right now, coming into the end of January, you still have $15,000 available.
So yes, we could eventually, if we put on the referendum, we could say, let's say the general fund goes up to a couple of $1 million. So we have excess money. We might put in a referendum article to allow us to use $200,000 out of the general fund to reduce the tax commitment. Okay, but we can't do that on our own. It has been done in the past. Okay, but that's basically spending money out of the general fund that needs to have voters. It's not spending money, but it's using Because again, you're appropriating, you're taxing less, so that's, the excess money is gonna come out of that there. So,
Okay, so if it's not getting spent, is there a reason why it's not being reduced?
what's,
The general assistance.
I'll
just
talk
needed-
about that. I was
Okay.
on budget committee last year and we tried to reduce it and everybody had a fit.
Yeah. Well,
Does
we
does
did
anyone
reduce it
remember
some.
that?
Oh, no, I do. Oh, no, I do.
Oh, no,
No,
there was
no,
a
we
big
did reduce
production
it.
about that.
Yeah,
Oh, no, cause everyone needs
How
help.
bad? I wasn't here.
I know you
Well,
weren't
no,
here,
you
but
weren't here.
we were trying to do that and everyone had a fit.
Not,
So-
not everyone.
Well,
Not everyone.
I think the
Majority
concern
did.
was that if somebody needed help paying their rent or something, that
Right.
it might,
But especially
they
if you
were
give it
comfortable with
50% back.
decreasing it.
Well, here's the thing is that I didn't understand. I mean, I'll tell you, I spoke against reducing
you
it last
did.
year.
yeah,
But I didn't understand that it had to go by like 30 days. I mean, I thought this was for somebody that was in trouble and needed a little bit of help from the town for a month or so. I didn't realize, honestly, that this money had to go by state guidelines. I thought that this was money that the town set aside to help somebody that was having a hard time this month and you know, had an illness in their family, couldn't work and were having trouble. That's what I thought this was. And that's why I spoke so strongly against reducing it. But now I'm seeing $2,000. I mean, I'm just not so sure I'm real happy with only using $2,000 out of a $17,000
but understand,
Now
budget.
people
that-
need to apply. I mean,
Right, you
That-
know that, Joyce.
they've gotta apply.
And the fact is, if you have a $10,000 budget here and you spend 8,000 of it, the town's gonna be reimbursed 4,000, so you're
Right.
always ahead of the game.
Right.
So you've got 18,000.
Well, that's why I just asked
If
you
you,
for it,
if
because
you
I didn't
spend
understand it.
18,000, you're gonna get half of that back.
Okay, so
always
do
have
you,
money.
so how do you feel about reducing it into next year?
I feel strongly
I
about
make a motion that this committee
Well,
might
especially
look at
since,
reducing it to 10,000.
but we were told that the extra funds go into the general
Into the
fund
general fund.
to reduce, to offset the taxes, and you're telling us that that's not what happens.
not unless it's in the rough line, not unless the people approve it.
Okay.
Okay,
That happens with but that doesn't happen just with this, that happens with every single budget.
So can
I
we
guess-
set aside a certain amount for a town, like a needy fund
Hold on.
governed
Yeah,
by
go
the
ahead.
town?
I'm trying to.
Go ahead,
Oh, sorry.
In most other instances, if I could budget and I can see my expenses and we're this far under, I would totally agree on reducing it. But this is one of those numbers that you have no idea. We have a stock market crash tomorrow and the economy shits the bed and everybody is unemployed like happened in 2009.
Right.
Okay, we may very well be using this. I can't forecast that. It's something I can't forecast. And so if you look at 15 actual, they spent $21,000. $21,000 in 15.
How much came back?
Well, I'm sure we got half of that back, but my point is we did 21,000. If we were at 10, we would have run out of help.
Right. You're
And
right.
so an $18,000 number is really only costing the town $9,000. $9,000 to help the people that are really in need, I don't think is too much, in my opinion. I think it's compared to all the other budgets that we do, I think it's peanuts.
okay, but technically we're budgeting then for 36,000. Because
No,
if,
18,000.
But it's 36.
but
$36,000.
technically it's
Yeah.
36,000 because you're getting half of it back.
Every
We
single
get,
month.
no, you don't, it doesn't mean we can only put out $18,000. The revenue doesn't go against that number. We don't get that till maybe the next year.
No, you get it every quarter.
Okay,
If
but
you're
still, but
supposed
that
to.
doesn't go back into this account
Why doesn't it?
because we don't do the accounting that way.
Goes into the general fund.
It goes
Well,
into the
then
general fund
I
that we
take
can't,
nothing off the table then. This
we
is
go
all
into,
you
it
get.
goes into the general fund that we can't spend it.
Right, but if you ran out of money in here, there's always the contingency fund.
But yeah, that's for everything.
I think
It
he's
is-
right.
it is for everything,
If that reimbursement from the state does not go back into this account, I
No, it
think he's
doesn't.
right. I'm questioning whether 18,000 is enough, that's all you, if you do not put that reimbursement back into
No.
here, interesting.
Because no reimbursements go back.
It's no, it's like a revenue account. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't go into here. So just like this, to give you an example, we're gonna get to fire and rescue. Fire and rescue is hit with a bill for the billing company. They collect all the revenues that go in a revenue account, but they still have to do the billing. That doesn't come out of the bills you would think it would. I tried. I can't do it.
And really, it's kind of like a half a dozen one and.
That's why I'm saying this. So this 18,000 really is only going to cost the town 9. That's why I say that it's not 36.
But also, if you don't use the undesignated fund or the revenues or whatever you want to call it to offset taxes, then you're better off to put the income back into here and make this less so to take off the taxes. It's interesting, but that's a conversation for another time. That you don't use undesignated fund to help offset taxes without town meeting approval.
That's correct. That's what they've done in the past.
Interesting.
Okay, so how does anybody feel about reducing it? 15,000.
Not sure, no.
15,000 instead of 18.
So that only gives us 7,000.
No, it's
15,000.
It's
Put
15,000.
the reimbursement back in.
But then, right,
that.
get 7,500
So there's
back from the state.
21,000 or 2,100 we've spent now. We've only spent about 1050. Really, I mean, it'll cost the town 1050.
Say again?
We've already spent 2,100 this year, but that's actually it's only cost us 1050. We're going to get 1050 back.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay, so I have a question. If the reimbursement goes into the general fund and the general fund can't be used to
reduce taxes,
reduce
It
taxes,
can't be used automatically. That's probably an easier way. It can be used.
You just have to go.
The people have to approve it, as far as I know.
We could
So
put it on a referendum this year.
When we just did the taxes this past year, we can look at revenues. So we can look at revenues to reduce taxes, but we're trying to figure out forecast going forward. So we're using a very conservative number. So we're using like rescue revenues actually weren't being used at all. Well, we get a decent amount. We're getting over 100,000. So we use like an average number and use that number, figuring we're going to get at least that to help reduce taxes. We can do that. Okay, but this is a much harder number to try to figure out to reduce our tax commitment by $9,000.
Right.
I wouldn't even do that because I don't know if I'm going to get 9.
Plus a drop in the bucket.
If it's so small, I wouldn't. So this wouldn't get
when
used.
you add up all the budgets.
Well, when I look at all the revenue, but I don't look at that. I can look at revenues. So when we did this year, we didn't say, oh, we have a balance. We have an excess balance of 1.7 million, and we'd only need really 1.3. So let's take 400,000 and throw it over here, because that, quite frankly, happened in the past, and it got our general fund way low. Irresponsibly low because I want to keep taxes low.
You should only use a percentage.
Okay, and so that percentage, whatever that calculation number, that authority has to be given to us on the ballot. And in the last few years, that authority has not been there. We will probably put something on there. I don't know whether we'll actually use it because we want to make sure there's a safe general fund balance.
Right.
But right now, there's no authority for us to do that.
Okay, so how do you feel about reducing the amount?
I think we should leave it.
I think we should reduce it. I'm going to be a broken record. I think we should reduce it to 15,000. I think it's excessive at 18,000. Even if the economy hit the skids.
In previous years.
Right.
I could go either way.
It was only 4 years ago, $21,000 we used. Only 4 years, that's not a long time. You know, I mean, we've gotten away with it pretty cheap the past couple of years, but 4 years ago we used $21,000.
And look at 2017. Oh, that was the budget. Okay, never mind.
But it's true that contingency fund is there to fall back on if there's something emergency did come.
It is a big town. It is a big town if that's all you've got. I mean, I don't want to compare what Alfred does to what we do. But we put our reimbursement back into this account. So we only have a budget in the beginning for $7,000. And then every quarter we get whatever we spend out, we get half of that back, so it keeps us going through the year. But this doesn't happen here. I don't think 18 is unreasonable, but 15 wouldn't be bad either, I don't think.
changing the subject.
But if you can use it out of contingency, I mean, that would only be a 6,000-7,000 if you went back to even that figure, you know, out of contingency, which we're not spending anywhere near the contingency either, so. If you needed it,
How
it's
much
there,
is the contingency?
50,000, and it's
50,000? Wow, you guys are lucky.
Well, that's,
It used to be higher.
Used to be 100 for years.
well, and that's actually why we have one bad snowstorm and we're screwed. So 50,000, if you take a look at the stuff that I'm seeing, that I'm writing AP for,
See, we
bills
call
for
those
plowers.
overdrafts, we don't use contingency fund for budgeted, voted on budgets. Interesting.
yeah, so,
Doesn't mean it's wrong.
No,
It's
no,
just-
no, just how-
it's a new
how
way of-
different
New
places.
way of thinking.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so can we, 15,000, anybody up for that? You have a motion? Make a motion?
I'll
We
second.
reduce it to 15,000,
I'll second it. I really don't think it matters, but I'll second it.
okay. All in favor?
You didn't need my vote, so I'm just going to just vote back. I would have voted if I had to, but I didn't.
Is there an all opposed?
Oh, sorry. Are you opposed?
Are you on the
Or
fence?
you just
Independent.
abstaining?
I'm abstaining for now because I just
It's okay,
I'm just
it's
not
okay
sure
to be
either way
opposed.
right now.
It's
That
okay.
was
I just
right.
think
Oh.
it's weird.
Well, I'm not actually opposed, I'm just not sure of it. I didn't understand how it all worked and I you know, I just.
Mull it over.
So
Right.
any of the revenues, any of them go back to the department, or does it all go to the general fund? So why isn't it at least designated a little bit here to let you know that there's any kind of revenue coming back to this department?
Say again?
If all the other departments show revenue that it's coming back in,
Well,
why
some of
does
them don't have revenue, it's the ones that do,
Right,
okay.
but the ones that do have revenue coming back in, you at least designate it. We know it's not going back into this budget, but at least it's designated somewhere so you
Yep.
know that there is something
Yep.
coming back in.
Yep.
And this one, you can't even tell that you're getting anything back.
As far, is it on the revenue report I handed out?
Yeah.
Is that what- is that what you're looking at?
No, I'm looking on the,
It's not on the revenue report either.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, is it revenue or?
Well, that's what I don't know, I honestly, I don't know that answer.
Yes.
Well, if it's coming in as reimbursement,
it says
it's revenue into the general fund, right?
Is there a
So
general,
it should be on the
reimbursement.
revenue.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's not on here. There's a lot of things that are on.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, GA
so
reimbursement.
it's on, yeah,
it is?
yeah.
Where?
It's on page 2 of, but I don't know.
We may not have gotten anything year to date, so the first page is year to date.
Oh, I see it, of
That's true, yeah.
This is?
So
two
it's
thousand sixteen.
No, on the revenue report that I handed out.
$5,613.
So they haven't reimbursed us.
We may
Oh,
not-
yeah.
We may not have had anything.
Yeah, we might
Oh,
not.
I'm sorry.
And the net is 4820.
Yeah, so you got half of what you spent back.
So does that answer your, I don't know if that answered your
No, I
question.
just think if you look at this as a big picture, you don't really see that any of it comes back. So when I'm looking at this, you don't understand
Yeah,
that.
those don't, so that's why I have the revenue report. Cause that's purely, that's the,
Not experienced enough.
no, that's, so that one there is a budget report
Yeah.
and it doesn't show revenues.
That's why I suggested when we put it on the ballot that we let people know what the revenue into that
Yeah, no,
account.
we're doing a newsletter that will
Is.
explain.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
but
do
not
a
on the
newsletter.
newsletter.
Well,
Right on the ballot
Everybody
question.
sees the ballot and they'll look at it.
Correct.
They still see it.
we plan to mail the newsletter.
Oh, you're mailing,
To everybody.
This one,
To
yes.
everybody.
So you have a town
Explain the ballot.
report, the town
Yes.
report should show all the revenues.
yeah, but not everybody looks at
Right, but if, oh yeah, it does,
Yeah, you
but,
can't put it on the warrant or on the
No.
referendum, that
you
would be
can't.
insane.
right.
Well, you can't
Well,
because
You'd have a book.
No, I just didn't know. I mean, what would that extra little revenue
Because you're
number?
not voting on the revenue,
Right.
you can't really
you
use
have to
the
be very
warrant
careful
as
what
a.
you put on the
Yeah.
warrant. You're not
Yeah, I
supposed to
don't-
try to sway people.
Okay,
That's why
new-
I asked a lot of questions, because I don't understand all of that.
It's
So-
okay.
New business?
That's okay.
Any new business?
I'm gonna be here next week, I have a meeting at the town of Milford,
Okay,
so.
hopefully we'll have.
What's next week's budget? Budget.
We're doing relief agencies, cemeteries,
Oh.
summer camp and CIPs.
I vote for summer camp, whatever it is.
Okay.
Self-funding anyway.
Okay.
Like-
Okay.
Just CIP probably won't happen because it won't be totally done yet, so I would push that out, so roads, we don't have a roads number because we haven't done roads department, I mean, he hasn't come to it, he's done his budget, but we don't have a number for that. And fire are the two ones, the bridge, some of them we know, but roads and fire are the two big CIPs that we don't have a number on.
So back to what are we actually doing next week?
So we might end up pushing CIP out.
Well, it'd be relief agencies, cemeteries, and summer camp. We could move legal up.
Yeah, we
And
don't.
insurance.
Insurance, we don't have some numbers yet.
Oh, okay.
Do we get anything?
What do we
like
have,
that?
relief
We get anything like that next week?
agencies, nothing summer camp?
Cemeteries,
For next week.
summer camp.
No reports.
No, I think most of that stuff you already have.
No,
Next week?
insurance.
Yeah, I think we did get it. I can't tell you where
Yeah,
it's
'cause
at.
we were like 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
Summer camp we got.
Yeah, I got the summer.
Cemeteries, you should
Not
have.
roads and fire.
Cemetery.
No, we don't have those until 14.
Cemetery we didn't get.
No, I didn't get
Sure.
cemetery, yeah.
Yeah.
We did have summer camp.
We had most of the ones that we've gotten, we finished up tonight.
No, the last
I was pretty sure
week-
we got a
last week
packet
we got
last
it.
week.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah,
fine.
we did.
I don't have
Get a
some.
packet.
For next week.
Transfer station and.
No,
Summer camp was on, in the
Yeah, we
rec,
did,
right under the rec.
Do you have cemetery? I don't have cemetery.
Well, that's right.
no, no, I don't.
Nobody else has
just
it.
stopped me.
It was under the rec department.
Yeah, it was right after rec department.
It's under the rec department, actually.
The cemetery is under the
No.
rec department?
no,
Summer
summer
camp.
camp.
Summer camp.
Oh, yeah, the summer camp is, yeah, summer camp is. Yeah. It's like, whoa, that's a concept. Just let the kids go run play.
Let those old folks recreate.
Okay, so old business, we had questions outstanding.
Yes.
So the CEO revenue, I see that was realigned on the trio report. The decal for the CEO,
Haven't bought it yet.
okay. And the ACO working for North Berwick.
Okay, she does. You'll actually see it on, she doesn't hide it, if you look on North Warwick's website, that's where I had seen it, if you actually go to their website, she's listed. So their police handle most of their animal control calls, because that's what most police do. They'll either call her in for a tough one. And I think Carol also does some work over there if Mary's not available. Or if a lot of times the police will say, hey, hey, do you think we did this right? We did this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're fine. So they may call on the phone. They don't call her on the cell phone. They call her on her home phone. That's the number that they reach her on. Now, does that forward to her cell phone? It does. She has it set up that way, but that's the number they have is her home phone. As far as training, they cover any additional training that she goes to. We do the one training for the certification or whatever, the once a year training, and then they cover any other additional training that she goes to. Like this dog trap that she wants to get, they're gonna be paying half of it, because she can use it in both areas, and so so it is, again, she doesn't go over there very much at all. Most of the times the police take care of it, and they may call her because they don't want her coming out in the middle of the night. She's willing to do it, but they say, no, we don't need you, just we did this, and this, and is that right? And she goes, yeah, that's right. So
she's more of a, yeah, I was.
she's a consultant back up to the PD,
reference.
back up to the plug, yeah. So
Mutual aid, that's what it is.
Yes, good word.
Okay, we good?
What did you say about the training?
They pay for the
any additional training they pay for it.
Okay.
We pay for the one training a year, and then I'm not sure this last year because she had some health issues that she did any other training, but in previous years she has.
She's looking to go to another one this year too.
Long day for you, isn't it? Long day. So he's gonna fall asleep right there.
And I only have 2 questions for you. I have rec committee stipend, points, wages. I got that. It's not really a question, but we want to move that. Correct. And then I have donations for the library as far as a similar spreadsheet to what was given out for annual festival. That's what I have on my to-do list. Was there anything else?
I don't think so.
Is there any other
Oh, yes.
income that we should know about? I mean, it's,
Well, that's why I gave you the revenue those revenue
I mean,
reports.
besides, it's not on that.
Yeah, like the library, like the donations
I mean,
account
some
for
of
the
that stuff is
library
not
and for the festival and.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stipend for the stipend.
I'd find out when we get through the budget, so.
Right,
Yeah, I mean,
Trying to look ahead.
yeah, I mean, again, we didn't do the rec budget. We hadn't seen it. This is the first time, same thing with the library. I mean, that was the whole point of letting you guys see it first. So, you know.
Well, we didn't really see it first, we all saw it together.
Well, I'm just saying, it's all new to me, so it's not like we saw it ahead of time, so.
Okay, so CIPs, do you think that'll be ready by the 14th?
February?
Yeah, it's 3 weeks.
I mean, it makes sense to do the road one when we do roads. And it makes sense to do the fire one when we do fire.
Okay.
Just, that to me makes sense. The other ones, we can probably do normal. I think we're pretty much fine with those. Those are the ones that we don't have numbers for.
We don't have the relief agencies either.
Well, and we don't have relief agencies because we haven't gotten the letters from the relief agencies asking for, that normally comes this time of year. So.
You would think they would get that right out to you.
You would think.
You know?
So I mean, part of the CIP, the bridge CIP, we have that number. I'm not sure what other ones they're there. Building one, it's gonna be the same. We're not gonna go up in the building one. Trying to think of the others. There's building maintenance, which is like this type of building type of maintenance, and then there's bridges and
Paving and
Paving.
there's
paving.
roads, and then there's fire, and then was
Yeah.
there one other one? Well, we had road equipment. So again, that would, if we wanted to do anything in road equipment, that we should go under. We should talk about that when we do roads. So it's all kind of part of the big.
Did you ever
budget.
hear back from the Historical Society about what they're gonna be looking for towards
So
the,
that's other
Old Town
referendums
Hall?
and that's last. So
Okay, so do we wanna move legal up to next week?
Do we have the information?
probably, I mean, I don't have it on me. I mean, it's easy, we're done. I mean, it's an easy number.
Okay, then let's move
Sounds
legal
good.
up, since we're gonna pull some of this CIP stuff out.
I think
General
you
government.
already have you already have fiscal 17 for every department, so you already have those. You just need year-to-date numbers.
right?
And the budget's going down, so it's not going up. So, okay, you'll have year-to-date numbers there and a budget sheet for legal.
Okay, so your to-do list was the stipend, the revenue or donations for the library, and what was the other thing?
Year-to-date budget for legal.
Okay, and that was it?
I guess. Right?
Okay, well, you said you had a to-do list.
No, that's what I have on my to-do
Okay,
list, and I just wanted to.
Alright. Okay, we good?
Okay.
Motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor?
I'll vote this time.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.